rookie deal. Meantime, Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers is back on the field for voluntary OTAs, and head coach Robert Saleh says he's practicing with no restrictions. Rodgers, of course, recovering from a torn Achilles he suffered in last season's opener 8 months ago, says he feels really good. I have a lot of motivation. I love the game. I want to play at a high level. I don't want to go out, as I've said before, as a bum. Wide receiver Devontae Parker announced his retirement Tuesday, just 2 months after signing with the Eagles. Parker played 9 seasons in the NFL with the Dolphins and Patriots. And free agent safety Jamal Adams took a visit with the Ravens Tuesday, according to NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
They say health is wealth, and I could not agree more. That's why if you or somebody in your life is living with everyday aches and pains, I want to tell you about Relief Factor. And I'm telling you, I can feel the difference. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps fight pain naturally. Naturally. Now that's a big deal. Developed by doctors. Relief Factor's unique formula of ingredients all work together to help support your body's response to inflammation. Instead of masking pain for a couple of hours, Relief Factor actually helps reduce or even eliminate your pain for good. Whether it's neck, back, joint, or muscle pain, if you're looking to feel better, live better, give Relief Factor a try. In 3 weeks, you will know if it's working because you'll feel it. For instance, I was sent Relief Factor to try, and I've been taking it every single day. I'll tell you what, I feel the difference every day. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Save on your first order. Don't let pain tell you how to live. Fight back naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Did you know that radon is the number one cause of lung cancer for non-smokers, and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/radio. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at HIMS, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to speak?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 10 minutes a day.
10 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun.
Fun isn't hard.
Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make languages fun and engaging. You might even forget you're learning. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. Babbel teaches language skills you'll actually use, about travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are voiced by real native speakers, you'll get pronunciation just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Get Babbel. It starts here. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Post is roasting every morning.
Post Coffee Services is on a mission to invigorate every workplace with a blend of bold flavors and unforgettable service, creating moments with our coffee, water, and food services that spark joy, productivity, and connection. Call us today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Post Coffee Services is always roasting something good for you.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
1620 The Zone. Drew Holiday has it. Looking. Still looking. Gets it into the corner. Brown. Brown gets off a three for the tie and hits with 5 and 10 seconds to go. Indiana's got a timeout. They'll use it. Inbound from the side. Celtics have it into Horford. Now to White. Minute 15 to go in OT. 8 to shoot. White finds Tatum in the lane. Got fouled. Puts it up with a right hand and in. We are tied. and an and one for Jason Tatum. 124-123 Boston, 50 seconds to go in overtime. Here's White driving the free throw line to the dotted line. Takes it out to Tatum. One dribble, squares for three. Hits it! Jason Tatum with a huge triple with 42 seconds left to give Boston a two-possession lead. Baseball pass received by Siakam, sends it over to Halliburton, turns for three, in and out, rebound contested, saved by Brown, 1 second to go, and that's it. Game one goes to the Celtics. An improbable late regulation comeback, and Boston hangs on to win in overtime, 133 to 128.
This loss is totally on me. With 10 seconds in regulation, we should have just taken the timeout, advanced the ball, and found a way to get it in and made a free throw or two and ended the game. But it didn't happen, and we made some other mistakes. But our guys just need to concentrate on fighting the way they fought in this game from start to finish, and we'll be back Thursday.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
Hey guys, great to see you. Hey, good morning, everybody. Except for Rick Carlisle, his team is now down 0-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Got some splaining to do after they choked that one off last night at the Garden. We'll get to that. But good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Much quieter morning on this Wednesday. No sirens, no hail, no torrential downpours.
No Channel 7, us instead.
Yeah.
No.
We're all together.
You're here.
I cherish that. Yeah, no texts of, hey, I don't know what I'm going to do. So, yeah, it's good to see you guys.
So it is quieter morning. Looks like traffic is moving well, unless you're in my neighborhood, which is going to be an absolute blank show. So
your water's still off?
No, you know what? When I got home, it didn't even dawn on me. And then I had to go to the bathroom.
Oh.
And like halfway through the stream, I was like,
I'm glad it was.
I was like, oh man, I should have gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, we're just going to take a crack. And the water was back on. I did notice that the water coming out of my tap had a different look to it.
A little funky.
Yeah. So I live in the Exarban Village area, and we had some major water main breaks yesterday with the flooding. So basically, the Baxter Arena parking lot flooded across Center Street between 64th and 67th, and then on into the village. And I'm at essentially 64th and Center. I mean, I pull out my garage, either go left onto Center, or I go right to come here to work. And the road crumbled. So for the next 6 weeks, there is a stretch of Center. Now, they are listing it as 60th to 72nd. That's not true. Because coming home from Warner Park last night, I was able to drive down 72nd. You just can't go between essentially 65th and 67th on Center. They have that blocked off, but it's going to be a major problem.
I thought you were going to say it was listed day to day, but then I see that, day to day.
There it is.
I heard 6 weeks. So I guess they're reporting 60th to 72nd. Here's the thing. I'm going to see a lot of people just driving aimlessly around my neighborhood because they're lost because of detours, but that's going to be a problem. You know, I mean, you guys,
summer.
You guys know how busy that area is, but also Baxter Arena has all the graduations. They actually had to postpone a couple of graduations yesterday. But when I got home yesterday, I was thinking the worst. So I pulled into my garage and then walked down there, and there were, I don't know what you call public works officials that were working aggressively. Like the water had been pretty much cleared out, and you had some police officers. But man, we have found all the orange cones and signs in my neighborhood. They are everywhere. I mean, there's yellow tape up where you can't drive.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll, go into the rickshaw business or something like that over the next 6 weeks while my neighborhood is impacted.
You guys wanted me to take vacation.
On Rusty.
But, it looks like for the most part, we made it through yesterday. There's some places that got some major debris damage. There's some golf courses, Benson, TPC, that took a hit. And then our friends.
Knowles, too.
There are friends in Greenfield, Iowa, who took a major hit with a tornado I think it's been reported as a tornado. NBC Nightly News said an alleged tornado, but major damage over in Greenfield. And those sites kind of reminded you of what we went through a month ago in this community. And speaking of that, I mean, I feel for the people in the Ramblewood area of this town, which got hit hard by the tornadoes. And then they got hit hard again yesterday with all the rain and hail and everything else that rolled through there. So it's been a weird month weather-wise.
It is, and I usually take a lot of this with a grain of salt. After, I think it was when we were going into March, they were talking about how it had been nice and warm other than that first week of January where we had the cold snap, the blizzard.
COVID.
But then after that, it was pretty mild, and everyone said, I can't remember if it was the weather pattern that was in, but it was being talked about amongst the weather nerds that can typically lead to a very active spring and early summer when it comes to severe weather. And you're like, okay, yeah, all right, fine. Well, so far that has been the case. It feels like every week there's at least been a severe weather event since that Friday night when we had the tornadoes too. And so, yeah. And the one thing about it is, and my gosh, yeah, you mentioned what took place in Iowa, multiple fatalities and just, seeing a lot of the damage from that this morning and last night is hard to watch. But you also have a feeling that now when you hear those sirens, there's a lot of times I don't know if it's just a Midwest thing or not, but where people would just go out to their front porch and see what's going on. I've been guilty of that. In fact, I was doing that yesterday afternoon, the second time. I feel like people are taking that a lot more serious too when you have moments like that. When you see that.
I hear what you're saying, but yesterday, so you get home, it's 11:30, 11:45, and you hear the sirens go off again. I'm like, okay, because I just heard them driving into work yesterday at 5:55. I'm like, so I immediately look at my phone, and what do? With a lot of my other neighbors, we go outside.
Yeah, and I did this.
It's a tornado warning, so you're going outside, and then we have a guy in the neighborhood that basically has just said, "F it," just. Put down the tailgate of his pickup truck, and he was just sitting there, and he was going to watch any storm that was going to roll through, almost like he had enough.
He bought tickets.
If it's going to get me, it's going to get me right now.
Fight him.
Well, and so on that point, so I did the Storm Chasers game last night. They played it was a promotion, but it included a siren.
Oh.
And I mean, like, whoa, because the weather, like looking back towards downtown Omaha, the weather, like the skies were not in great shape.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, I know that's not the National Weather Service, the sirens.
Yeah.
But man, now because of what we've gone through, every siren, you're like, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't stir it up tonight.
And that might be actually the better point too, is when you're hearing that. And the only reason we went in the basement that Friday night is because when we were getting Reese, we could see that on the horizon. We're like, okay, that really is one, as opposed to, like, I think they were talking yesterday, radar indicated one, or however that goes.
That's CGI.
That was a little too close for comfort.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was a rough day. I mean, I saw pictures from Fremont Fred Valley View Golf Course.
Oh my gosh,
got hit. Wahoo got hit hard with flooding, and a lot of insurance agents, mechanics are very busy today. Unfortunately, yesterday, the rain stopped. It could have rained all day.
I was wondering how you do it.
Day.
Mm-hmm.
So
many think it should have.
Let me hold on 1 second. Yep. Like wintertime around here where it gets cold, you pull on the old wool socks. You want to stay warm.
Yeah.
Some people, when they have some circulation issues in their legs, they have to have different kind of socks. I've not reached that age yet, but I know it's
just past the shins.
I know it's coming.
Yep.
Okay. I am not a Birkenstock sock guy. I like what Nebraska baseball did last night when it comes to my socks.
Oh, I love that. That whole uniform is like one of my favorite uniforms.
No, I'm not even talking about that. My favorite sock this time of the year is exactly what Nebraska baseball did last night. No show. Okay.
Never. I thought you were talking about the high socks and the three stripes.
No. So, hey, the guys.
This is what I thought you were going.
We got to dwell on positives.
No. The guys in the uniform last night. That's embarrassing.
Yep.
What happened downtown last night in the Big Ten tournament to lose 15-2 as the number 2 seed to number 7 Ohio State is an absolute embarrassment from top to bottom. Whether you had a glove on, you had a bat in your hand, or you were standing in the dugout, That was a major, major embarrassment last night for Nebraska baseball. I mean, 15-2. I can understand Ohio State's playing for their life. They play their best game. You're the number 2 seed. Whether you're pitching your ace or not, 15-2. 15-2. That was a major, major embarrassment last night, and everybody has to own it, okay? It was so bad last night that the Nebraska baseball Twitter account gave up.
Yeah.
They just said, we're done.
Yeah.
They went from
tweet?
They went from the third inning, not even sarcasm, not even like, you know what, we put a few balls in play tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. None of that. They went from the third inning tweeting to the end of the game. They gave up. There's probably a lot of people that gave up and said, man, I can't watch this. Turn it off. Then I was listening, at the ballpark at the Storm Chasers game. I was watching the game up in the press box. And then when I got in the car, I was driving home. The radio broadcast, they didn't give up because they were still on the air. But boy, did they get angry. Boy.
And
Ben,
I know.
hey, Ben, like, he said to Gus, hey, can you go get I got a lighter. Can you go get a pitchfork? Let's light it here in the booth, because they went end town. They went negative town, and they were like, and thank you. Thank you very much, Ben and Gus, because that was embarrassing last night.
They sounded like me.
And I there's a lot about that game. And fortunately for Nebraska, they're hanging on. They fell to 35 in the RPI, but I just can't get over how this team, when there is quicksand in the neighborhood, they're like, let's run as fast as we can and jump into the quicksand. That's what happened last night. And as a result, they are forced to play tonight against Purdue. Now, the Big Ten pitcher of the year, the ace, the guy that's holding you together, will probably get the baseball. But 15-2 is 15-2, and you got run ruled in the Big Ten tournament. Bad. It was a bad night to have a bad game at the ballpark.
It was, and I know that going into yesterday, and I know Will Bolt wouldn't even fully acknowledge it, but also wouldn't dismiss it, of how they wanted to handle their pitching as it focused on the Big Ten tournament compared to the bigger picture in the NCAA tournament. That they weren't even considering the thought of a Brett Sears start yesterday, even though you've got Vital Cheese from Ohio State who's been their Friday night guy. And I'm not going to now look at the result and say, boy, that was a bad decision. Because if that's what you were sticking with from the time that you left East Lansing, and that was the plan that you had in place, and all parties were informed on that days ahead of it, which I got to assume that they were.
So they were told Monday afternoon is when they made the decision.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got at least more than 24 hours to prepare. At the time, they thought they were playing it too, though. Either way, I understood the logic behind that last night and yesterday morning when we were talking about this. So I'm not gonna look at the result and say, whoop, no, shouldn't have done that. Now, here's the part about this idea of playing through the Big Ten tournament just so you can set yourself up for the NCAA tournament. You cannot have a look like that. And where now you put yourself, not only elimination game for the obvious reasons of keeping yourself active in this tournament and keeping yourself around in this tournament. And obviously the Big Ten is praying to God that's the case. But you got to go into the NCAA tournament with some momentum. I know that's Captain Obvious speak right there, but it's one thing to, if you were to go 2-Q and have two highly competitive games where, gosh dang, you just didn't get that deciding run across the plate, or someone just bested you. But last night, between two pitchers that I thought were extremely important, and I still do think are extremely important, between what they do now, and we saw that last night, compared and then to what they do in the NCAA tournament. Jackson Brockett, and I've brought his name up a bunch of times, and I'll take the L on this one. I said Caleb Clark, to me, is one of the X factors going into this because of the way he was pitching coming into the Big Ten tournament. You know, he was looking like a guy that if you needed a stretch starter, that he could possibly give you that outside of a Jackson Brockett. I mean, he was all over the place. And then when he was in the zone, it was as hittable as he's been. Jackson Brockett, I wouldn't say his stuff was awful, but he was up in the zone.
No, he was, you know what? He was probably who Jackson Brockett is last night.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
He's a nibbler.
And a lot of people are going to focus on, well, hey, the no-hitter. And that was talked about a lot during the broadcast. The first hit, it's weak contact up the middle. It gets through the middle. And the first thing they say, well, there won't be a no-hit tonight. So that's still part of the story, and I understand that.
I mean, he was – the no-hitter was great, and he can be effective, but last night was kind of who he is.
Yeah.
And Ohio State had a great approach at the plate. I mean, you have somebody that is missing the zone, so then they have to nibble, and they're not missing bats.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for disaster.
And I want to give Ohio State a lot of credit because their plan to attack Husker pitching was perfect. They were letting everything travel deep in the zone. The amount of hits, they had 15 hits last night. I would venture to guess 10 of those, at least 10 of those, were the other way, going opposite field, being able to really see it. So you can't take anything away from Ohio State, but the response from Nebraska, I know that they faced Vital Cheese before, but the contact again, Gary, I've mentioned this many times.
That's why it's embarrassing.
Yes.
The pitching. You trust 4 guys on the staff, okay? Yeah. And Nebraska actually, I mean, Nebraska's been the same team for a while now. Okay, they're just kind of hanging on because the RPI is still very good. Right. There's the RPI eyeball discussion that we'll have a little bit later. But pitching aside, their approach at the plate, it was a failure from top to bottom last night.
And that's the overly concerning thing. And I've brought this up many, many times when people really want to go after the bullpen. I'm not saying the bullpen is nothing, but as streaky as this offense has been, and where they go into stretches with really weak contact, really soft contact, and even in spots, if you watch that they're attacking pitches early in counts, when they're getting fastballs early in counts, and they're still getting weak contact, opportunities that you feel like if you're a good offensively sound team, that you're going to be able to barrel up some balls. They're not doing that. They go in stretches where they don't do that. Then they'll give you that one game where they score double-digit runs. But for the most part, offensively, and it culminated into a horrible look last night. This has been my main concern all the way from midweek or mid-season, when you knew that as long as that RPI hung around, they're probably going to be an NCAA tournament team. This was always my biggest concern on why I didn't think they could go very far in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, their approach last night, the guy was dealing. But I mean, you can't in key situations have 2 guys strike out an inning looking.
Mm-hmm.
And only have 2 hits through 5 innings, and also not disrupt the lefty.
Right.
I mean, he would get the ball back, and he was throwing it again.
Yep.
There was no attempt to get in his head, disrupt him. None of that last night. That's why there's the part of the team that is this team that is the same as it's been. Is when there's quicksand, they run to it, and they're also a major front-running team. When they don't get a good start on the bump, they're in trouble. That happened last night. They're going to bank on Brett Sears doing what Brett Sears has done again tonight. But the part of last night and the decision not to use Sears or use Sears, which I'm okay with, because this is where a game like last night and a tournament like the Big Ten separates the fan approach compared to the team approach.
Mm-hmm.
The NCAA tournament and a regional is so much greater of importance than a conference tournament.
Right.
You are in the NCAA tournament. Again, the RPI fell from 31 to 35 today. You do not want to lose tonight. You do not want to lose to Purdue tonight because Purdue does not have a top 5 RPI. I don't know if you've checked lately.
Yeah.
But the fan says, you got to pitch Sears. You got to win this. You got to make a run. Well, it's not saying they don't want to win the Big Ten tournament. And this is where I learned, because I'm like, hey, let's win a conference championship back in the day. Now, if you have a really, really good team, you can do both.
Sure, yeah.
But in this case, the fan says, come on, we got to win. We got to win. The team says, every day that ends in Y, if we are secure in being in the NCAA tournament, what we do next week is more important than this week. Now, what you do is, Will Bolt, little gambler, says, okay, if we're going to use this strategy, then we can't be a 2 in the queue next week.
Right.
So there's a lot of mindset here, but I don't know. I think this team has been the same. They've been for a while, and there are certain games they get exposed when they have to play Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. When they play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not a bad team. But in the Sunday to Wednesday games, they're now 3-11 in their last 14.
And this is where I will now go back to the pitching part of it too, because outside of two, as you bring up, outside of two guys and this mentality of front running, which is one of the things that drives me more crazy than anything when it comes to just competitive sports. But it's present and it's very true. And I think this team, you're absolutely right about that. If they don't necessarily, I don't want to say they don't trust, but they're unsure of what they're going to get on the hill, it impacts, I think, everything that they're doing both at the plate and defensively. And it could even be, okay, we'll throw a Will Walsh out there, for example. It could be Will Walsh just hung a 0, and you're okay with that. But you don't know if that's going to hold. And so your plate approach is more pressing. It's not more of that free-flowing approach that you would typically have when you're confident that no matter what we do at the plate, our guys got our back, and that's going to carry for 4, 5, 6 innings. There's a lot of that I think what they are unsure of, what they're uncertain of, what this team is uncertain of what they're going to get on the mound outside of Sears and McConaughey, I think it does translate into what they're doing at the plate, or what, more importantly, what they're not doing at the plate. This team offensively has a formula, and that formula is, and it's interesting because it's very similar to how Creighton used to be, where get some guys on, get aggressive on the base path, be able to get the run game going, be able to hit behind runners, and then all of a sudden you generate that type of offense. You're putting a lot of pressure on an opposing team's pitcher and their defense, and that's how you start to build that offensive momentum. When you're limiting guys on the base because you're swinging at wild pitches out of the zone, or you're getting soft contact, you're rolling over, you don't get those guys on base. And so you're almost in a very dangerous formula right there, where you're hoping that you're playing a team that is extremely erratic defensively. And, none of that was the case last night. Ohio State, I mean, with the soft contact, I think at one point, Ohio State had 8 hits by the end of that tirade in the fourth. More than that, they had 10 hits. And Nebraska at that point had only put 3 balls in play.
Well, Nebraska baseball did fans a favor, because now they can go and find something else to do on Sunday.
And they can get a chance to watch them tonight.
It's supposed to be great weather Sunday, too.
Well, now think about this. You're going to play now Wednesday, Friday, twice on Saturday to get to Sunday?
The last time that's ever happened where a team has played in the championship of this tournament was a 6-team format, and that was all the way back in 2006.
Yeah, so in the 8-team, which has been going on for the last 7 years, it has never happened. Right. You lose game 1. Come on. We all know Nebraska's pitching situation. I just laid it out. Tonight, you feel good. Friday, you would feel good because you have 2 of the top 3 pitchers in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to win twice on Saturday. But we can focus all we want on the pitching. Where are the bats?
Yep.
Where are the bats when needed? When they're having an off night and a guy gives up a crooked number early, where are the bats? Just bad performance up and down. But here's the other thing about last night that is kind of frustrating from the standpoint of, I want Will Bolt to be feisty. He'll show it to you at certain times. I think he's still learning how to be a head coach. Feisty move is being aggressive and saying, we're not comfortable with Brett Sears throwing 94 pitches. We would like him to be closer to full rest because we know how important he is on Friday, the NCAA tournament. That's fine. I get that. That actually makes sense. Even though I was thinking, I'll pitch him Tuesday, and if you run it through, maybe you pitch him again on Sunday. But it does make sense because next week is more important than this week. So that's aggressive. Then you go to Brockett. I mean, it was Saturday, 43 pitches.
Yep.
Caleb Clark let you down. You're right. Caleb Clark could pitch well. I mean, Ty Horn was the best guy out of the bullpen last night.
Yep.
But here's the thing. If you're going to be aggressive with a pitching decision on who you're going to start, then what were you doing with your lineup?
Yeah.
Why were guys who have as many at-bats as some of us do this season, why were they in the lineup last night?
Yeah, like you're talking about a Jeske, even a Gabe Swanson. And
those are the 2 guys in particular. And why were some of the regulars riding the pine until late in the game when the outcome was already decided and they were pinch hit opportunities?
Yeah, and I'm probably maybe even a little too bullish on Garrett Englund because I thought he would be a bigger part of this team's offensive success when it came to replacing Bryce Matthews and Max Anderson. And I understand Garrett Anglam hasn't had that major jump forward, but Garrett Anglam's one of those guys that I would say I trust a little bit more. Even Cole Evans, and I know Cole Evans wore the collar last week. And then you go back to the series against Indiana where he had the walk-off, and Cole Evans has given you some significant at-bats. Between Gabe Swanson and Cole Evans, I mean, if you look at the numbers alone, the batting average, it's not overwhelming. It's nothing that you're going to say, hey, clearly there's a discrepancy. So the idea of putting Gabe Swanson in over Cole Evans and having Jeske in there because you feel like he hits better against lefties,
that's a tough spot to put him in.
It is
this time of the year,
and that's the thing about Jeske.
That you got guys that I don't know. I mean, I would ride with them whether they're splits or bad against a left-hander.
Right.
They've played a lot more baseball this year.
And see, that's where I'm at on GA.
We're not playing Creighton on a Tuesday night in April.
Well, and that's why I think Anglam to me would have made more sense because of his experience, especially having postseason opportunities and at bats. I don't love that. The left field decision between Cole Evans and Gabe Swanson, the fact that Cole Evans has been there more recent, I feel like you just roll with that, because unless you saw Gabe Swanson with this amazing split against lefties, and then also you saw an average that would lead you to believe overall with his contact that he's going to be able to give you a solid fill, especially down in the lineup like that. I understand that, but when I look at their numbers, Gabe Swanson, it's not like he is, it's, night and day different. Mm-hmm. So I'm, again, Monday morning quarterback in this whole situation. I'm probably going with the guy who's been more consistent as of late in left field. What you hope you can get from him offensively is for a guy that, like I said, he wore the collar against Michigan State. You would think he's due because he does have some pop, where Gabe Swanson's been in and out of the lineup so much. Gabe Swanson possesses power, sure, but we haven't really seen the fruits of any of that labor this year.
Another thing that showed last night is, like it's been all season, if by chance you get two really good starts next week in the NCAA tournament, good luck. Good luck. Who do you trust?
Yeah.
That's been the whole thing. I think Rob you could tell Rob, guys are on scholarship for a reason to throw strikes, and they can't throw strikes. Mm-hmm. And Rob can't trust certain guys, but he has to go to them. Just tonight, here's the thing with the Purdue game. Nobody expected to be playing on a Wednesday night. The facts are Nebraska needs Brett Sears to pitch well. They also need to do this, please, 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 if you're watching the game on television, is make it at least entertaining enough that the broadcast doesn't spend time waxing poetic about the GD Bob Carey pedestrian bridge. Okay? It's a nice thing. I've walked it. I've walked across and back. I've taken a picture where I'm standing in both Nebraska and Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay? It's cool that they put lights on it. All right? They're building a junior Bob that'll connect to where the ballpark is. That'll be really, really neat when it's done in November. But do we really need to have like a long discussion about how cool our bridge is?
This is what happens when it is 11-0. And no, you're right though. And even between
is the bridge one of the first places you take an out-of-towner when they come to Omaha? You say, we got a world famous zoo, but wait till you see this bridge. And they go, who is Bob Carey? Oh, yeah, he dated.
There are many times
the president.
We have out-of-town family that doesn't even see the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge. They also
but
got
if you
into
were listening to BTN last night, you would think that is the number one attraction. That is why people come from worlds away to come to Omaha, is the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge. And that's probably why we're number one in that ranking that came out earlier this week, is because we have a cool bridge where it spans 2 states. Now, there are a lot of people on this side that would like to cut half the bridge off and let the Iowa side just fall into the Missouri River. But last night, BTN told us that that's why you should come to Omaha.
Yeah, I got to check that out.
Not for the College World Series, but just come for the bridge.
Yeah.
Been to the World Series.
You know what?
I've never been on the bridge.
I wasn't living here when they built it, but I'm sure that in the meeting room, they said, if you build it, people will come to Omaha. They will fly into our airport. They will fly over it, and they'll go, what is that? And then they will land, and then they will get in an Uber, and they will drive to the base of the bridge, and they will look up and go, how do we get up there? And then they will circle around and they will walk up there and they're like, this is really cool. Then they'll take a picture. They'll look over the side and be like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to jump into the water today. They'll walk to the other side. They'll be over on the Council Bluffs side. They'll see those goofy statues that are over there. They're like, oh, look at all this green space. Kind of cool. And then they will walk back and then they will go, what else you got?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of just summed up how
You like
BTN
animals?
waxed poetic about the Bridge last night when it is 11-0.
Well, and what had happened in the fourth inning, I think the conversation went from Ohio State the last time that they were a 7 seed, which was 2019, that they had won the Big Ten tournament. And then you went from the last time Nebraska trailed, I think it was by 6 or 7. It was against Ohio State. So there was that. So you're keeping the fans engaged on what was getting pretty lopsided pretty fast. Then it went from that direct conversation about these two teams to, hey, what's going on in Major League Baseball? Paul Skeens, that's the story. So then it went from Paul Skeens and the Splinker. Then it went from TrackMan and how reliable TrackMan is. Then it went from Dannon Hughes' speed limit and his driving habits, and if he drives the speed limit or not, and Connor Onion wasn't having any of that. At that point, you looked at the scoreboard, and I would assume most occasions for people who don't watch a lot of baseball, like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
But we've all been in that situation, and we're like, are you looking at the score? They're doing the best that they have right now with the, and by the way, there's another hit. And there's another. I mean, the first 5 hits were, called the way that they should. After a while, they would get done with a thought as another one is blooping into right field, and you could see the Iowa baseball team sitting down the right field line, continuing to point that it's a fair ball and a fair ball. If I had to see any more scenes of the Iowa baseball team that you knew they were loving it, and they're pointing fair ball, fair ball, fair ball, at least 4 or 5 times. My God, that fourth inning alone, that was all of that was in the fourth inning right there that I just laid out.
We should have a drinking game between now and the College World Series. Have a drink every time the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge is shown.
Buy a shot at Rocco's, yeah.
Now, you're going to be hammered during ESPN's coverage because they love to have the drone that flies over the bridge.
And then they'll have some still images, people sending pictures of them stepping on both sides of the line. So you're in 2 places at one time.
Being in another state.
Is that why people talk about it so much, though? Not just the bridge, but the fact that you can actually be in 2 places, 2 states at the same time, that's why you have to, and you got to get the picture of you stepping on the line.
As a local that likes to walk the bridge, because it's a pretty good, healthy walk. You got uphill, you got downhill. I'm not a biker, but there's, I see the rollerblading I've noticed on my trail near my house has become very popular.
Oh, there you go. Take that one up this summer.
But I think, when people come to town, they will take the streetcar. They will get off in downtown Omaha. They will walk through Gene Leahy Mall, which is very beautiful.
It is.
I've done that.
And then they will go straight to the bridge. But as a local, when you are walking, I actually have taken a couple of pictures of tourists that think it's unique that we have a bridge that is both in Nebraska and Iowa.
You're not taking a picture of yourself on the bridge. You're taking a picture of other people that think it's cool that they're on the bridge.
I always
taking pictures of other people.
So when people ask me to take a picture, I always gauge their personality because I will take a picture of myself first.
Yeah.
And then I will and then I will hold the camera out and just look at their stunned faces. And they're like, man, this guy's a jabroni. And then I will take their picture. But you notice when you're with Rach and I are together and a couple wants a picture taken, they never ask the guy.
No, they don't.
Never
You're
said,
right.
yeah, they always ask the lady.
Yeah, excuse me, ma'am, would you? And I think I know I've done this before. When you see certain people walk by, I don't want to bother them. There's certain people I don't want to bother them. You always look for someone who looks like they would be willing to do that. And there are times that you're like, no.
Yeah, if I hung out at the Bean in Chicago, I would be taking pictures of people all day because every time I'm there, there's like, hey, will you take our picture? Will you take our picture? So I have taken a few pictures of families or couples
and yourself
that think it's cool. Like, hey, I'll stand in Nebraska, you stand in Iowa.
Yeah.
Asian Joe says I walked the Bob for the first time this past December.
Oh,
whoa, hello. That had to be a little bit nipply.
Likely, although based on what Nick said, it was above average.
There were some nice days in December, if you remember.
After all these years, I could have put it off for another 15 years.
Yeah.
Oh, so I shouldn't go. All right.
I mean, if it was that important, wouldn't it be like in the city logo?
Oh.
It wasn't in my welcome packet.
It's probably being worked on as we speak.
Do you
though.
think the people that own the land of the ballpark also have a stake in the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge? Because you know what? If we don't turn the ballpark so it looks into downtown Omaha, but we turn it that way, they can look at our bridge, and then they will come and visit our bridge.
Yeah.
And then they will buy stuff out of the vending machines that always seem to be vandalized that are right there at the entrance to the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge.
I always felt that was a very bold move to put outdoor vending machines on a very open area by a bridge where you're crossing paths both on the Nebraska and Iowa side. And I've been down that area many different occasions, and there's, as you would expect, there are your tourist type people, but then there are your bridge type people, and your bridge type people are probably a little bit more prone not to be the most law-abiding citizens.
Hey, welcome to a 15 to 2 morning show.
A run rule, too. That was the other thing, a run rule.
All right, thank God.
Right?
There are a lot of things the Big Ten does not do well when it comes to baseball. By the way, because the games got delayed, they delayed the announcement of their awards yesterday.
Yeah.
They finally did it, but they were supposed to do it like in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But, it
let's
rained.
kill some time.
Yeah, so they didn't announce it till later. But now Nebraska plays tonight at Day Trader Ballpark at 7 o'clock against Purdue.
Like
Brett
that Day Trader
Sears
Ballpark.
on the mound. There is a busy day of baseball. Michigan and Iowa play.
Mm-hmm.
Illinois, Penn State. We should treat this like if these were football games.
So Illinois, Penn State's a first one.
Yeah, and that
right?
game has a chance to go extra innings because
Yeah.
of one of the famous overtime games in State College.
Oh, yeah.
The Michigan-Iowa
Yeah.
game, I mean, do you think that Iowa will get shut out today?
If their offensive trend continues,
10-0,
it might be tough. Yeah.
Now,
I like this.
what gives you hope
Tor
for
Taylor's
tonight?
no longer in the athletic
What gives you
department.
hope for tonight is Nebraska's defense. Man, they locked down Purdue.
This is what we have to work with. And we mentioned the SP Plus number yesterday.
Because why I'm bringing that up? Because if we're treating the Big Ten baseball tournament like football, Ohio State beat Nebraska like they did again.
Yep, they did.
Yeah.
That was the equivalent
There you
of
go.
a 42-17 type affair right there. Yeah. And a game that ceremoniously it was ended early, like technically because of the run rule, but in a football game like that, how many people are even around in the fourth quarter?
Is Ohio State Nebraska's new Texas?
There you go.
I mean, men's basketball didn't go so well.
Yeah.
You can feel the
Football
hate.
hasn't gone well.
I would throw is the angst there though. I don't think that'll ever match Texas level, at least yet. I don't think that'll match that. I didn't experience a lot of people oohing and eyeing at the sight of seeing the red of Ohio State yesterday in the baseball uniforms.
So no ABOSU shirts yet?
Yeah, anybody but Ohio State.
Wait till the Bucknuts guy shows up
Yeah,
and sit
no.
behind home plate.
Was he there?
And-
Was he there for the Big Ten championship game in 19?
I bet he was. He
I don't
seems
know.
like he would at that point.
I
go.
wonder. He's not going to be a guy that's going to go to your early games of a tournament, but I could see him if they're
Dude,
still
can
around
you
the weekend.
Can you imagine in the heat with that
It'd be
paint
brutal.
on?
It'd be brutal.
Yeah, it's gonna be warm this weekend. Nice.
All right. Brandon Vogel from counterread.com is going to join us a little bit later. That's a lineup brought to you by the Roof Rees of John Higgins Weather Guard. Now that we are fascinated with the history of the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge, like the Big Ten Network is, I think they'll probably do a stand-up on it.
Oh, they should.
Like,
Yeah,
do you think
because
when
those are all
do you think
pre-recorded
when
anyway.
the College World Series is here, they'll have like Kyle Peterson do a walk and talk
Yep. Maybe with
as
a player.
he strolls across the Bob Carey pedestrian
Yeah,
bridge?
how Jay Billis would go baseline to baseline with a player. You could do that with a baseball player, go from one side of Nebraska to the other side of Iowa. I think that's a fantastic
I think
idea.
in one night of a 15-2 Big Ten opening round baseball game, we have had the bridge has eclipsed the zoo and the casinos and anything else in this town.
Well, it's because the Big Ten did not probably get over. They didn't get their camera crew over to the Henry Dorley Zoo to get some B-roll there that they could use in such a lopsided affair or the occasional rain delay. I bet you they might be working on that today, just so they don't have to continue to hammer on the bridge that way, that there's other things.
I mean, people are going to be moving to Omaha because of a bridge. Andrew knows a lot about the bridge for some reason. Good morning.
Well, hello, fellas.
Good morning.
Well, hello.
How are we doing?
We're doing fine.
Yeah.
Got up this morning.
Good. Good.
What can we do for
Well,
you?
Jeff, well,
You're really chipper this morning.
I try to be.
Hey, because it's the last day of school, right?
You got that right.
Yeah, all right.
Hey, so I have a friend that is in law enforcement, and I guess the Bob Carey Bridge is not so friendly at night.
I can imagine.
It is not.
And they didn't do a pan of the old market. Usually, they do something with the old market too.
Yep.
I don't know if that's being phased out with the Bob Carey Bridge being the main center, but also on a serious note, is TD Ameritrade too big for conference tournaments? It just felt very underwhelming.
Oh, 100% it is. Yeah. 100% it is.
I didn't feel the enthusiasm. It just seemed kind of blah.
That'd be correct.
Yeah.
So why do they keep on having tournaments there?
Well, because the Big Ten has nowhere else to go with it. And Omaha said, we'll host it because when Nebraska's here, at least we'll get a crowd. And then also when Iowa's here, we will get a crowd as well. So they took advantage of us.
But why don't they try the Storm Chasers
playing at Warner
instead? Yeah. I mean, wouldn't that be kind of a smaller, you look like there's more people there?
Well,
kind of a...
The schedule would be very difficult because now they're partnership with the NSAA. I know they're able to work some state tournament games in with home games for the Omaha Storm Chasers, but then you're asking for essentially another Tuesday through Sunday, and that going into Memorial Day weekend, basically telling the Omaha Storm Chasers they could never be home on Memorial Day weekend, I think would also probably not be great if you had to do that consistently every year.
Okay. And then the last thing about the great city of Omaha is we deserve better announcers than that. That first game that Purdue, who was
Indiana.
it? Purdue, Indiana. That was brutal to listen to.
Oh, man, you're knocking my guy Lizzie.
I'm telling you, it was brutal. I mean, I even think he thought it was brutal. It was the least exciting game
I'll text him.
I've ever listened to.
Okay. All right.
I mean, did you feel the love? Did you feel the excitement?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I mean, there's very Andrew,
thanks for the call.
I think sometimes, and Gary, you've been in this situation many times too, that you can feed off of what the environment is giving you too. I mean, you're always gonna have your baseline enthusiasm, but you also get a little extra amped up when there's a raucous environment. I mean, the fact that they got that game started at 4 was a minor miracle, but the amount of people until Nebraska fans started trickling in, there was nobody there.
Now, I'm going to text Lizzie and ask him, do you think you did a bad job yesterday?
I love how I think even he thought it.
In all reality, in games like 15-2, that's where Kugler would shine.
Yeah.
He's a local guy.
Yep.
He would, I mean, broadcasters really are at their best when it's a blowout as well. And you go, that guy has prep. He knows he can carry a conversation.
Right.
Yeah. The thing is, Big Ten baseball is boring to begin with. Okay. There's no real brand identification. You don't really know the players.
Yeah.
You know the logos. It is what it is. Now, ideally, a Warner Park would be great, a smaller venue.
I agree.
The ACC plays either in Durham or downtown Charlotte. Minor league ballparks, fantastic. The SEC goes to a place that the only thing they really host is the SEC tournament in Hoover, Alabama.
Yep.
Now, the Big 12 is ridiculous. They take the tournament out of Bricktown and they go to Globe Life in Arlington, which I'm watching KU K-State yesterday, the 9 a.m. game there. There's nobody there. So, of course, you have 40,000 empty seats.
Right. It's a bad look.
Conference tournaments are better in more intimate settings.
Yeah.
There is no doubt. But for some reason, the Day Trader Ballpark is an allure because we can say we played at the home of the College World Series.
Yep.
You know what? I think that's great for one game. And then you look around, ask Illinois Penn State playing today at 10 a.m.
Right.
They may never get to play there. They probably won't. But the second time they play and there's still nobody there, you go,
Yeah.
oh, man. It'd be kind of cool with Tal Anderson.
We've always talked about that even with, to a large degree because they play more games there, is Creighton. That I think when you have recruits that have never played there and they're playing their very first college baseball game in the home of the College World Series, the build up to it and even maybe even the first entire game is an experience. But after a while, you lack the atmosphere and you want that as a competitor. You don't have that.
Have you now watched a Creighton game?
Yeah.
Okay, that ballpark, the Day Trader is a cookie cutter, nondescript, no atmosphere ballpark unless the College World Series is there.
Yep.
There is, or a larger crowd that is 10,000 or more.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it is very, very sterile.
Yep.
They can play the great music that they do, and those guys do a great job. I wish they had more resources, but it's just a stale ballpark.
Yeah.
It's you don't get excited to sit in the ballpark and look at a bridge. Okay?
Speak for yourself.
But thankfully, they have never put up another video board in left field so you have a better view of the damn bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's pretty awesome.
Freed Yo says they show the Bob Carey Bridge because they want Nebraskans to get over its baseball team. Hey now, during that 5-7 season last fall, how many times did the Bob Carey Pedestrian Bridge show up on a broadcast?
There's a lot more Lincoln Commerce.
I don't remember
there.
during the Iowa game they said, just outside of Memorial Stadium.
Right.
Right next to a cornfield.
If you head down to Omaha now.
A little past break time. Jimmy's got an update coming up in the next hour. We'll talk about what happened last night between the Pacers and the Celtics, because I think there's a key question when you have a game like that. Is it give it away or take it away? Didn't Fred Durst do a song like that? Or is it the Chili Peppers?
Give it away now.
Give it away now.
Didn't Limp Bizkit do My Way? It's My Way or the Highway. Maybe you're getting those two confused.
Saw Fred Durst recently.
Really? How's he doing? Did you hang out with him?
Did not hang out with him.
Oh.
We have different.
He's older.
We have different standards.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he looks a little bit older. He looks okay.
So you go by Frederick now?
No,
he's always going to be Fred.
Yeah. So it's either did you give it away or did you take it away? Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now.
What I got to give it to your mama.
I'm guessing in your previous life you've heard that song a lot.
Yes, I have.
Because that's a good, there's moments in that song you can flip the hips.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not talking football.
No. That's no one thing by Finger 11.
It's mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone.
My taco pie is really something special, and it can't be imitated. It starts with my zesty taco sauce, seasoned beef, onions, lettuce, tomatoes, mounds of cheddar, and mozzarella cheese. This pie is the real deal. For a limited time, build your own feast with the specialty pizza, like my taco pie, a one-topping pizza, and cinnamon monkey bread. Do yourself a favor and order. Today, Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
I'm Dave Osted. And I'm Ryan Osted. I think my first memory of golf is playing with my dad at a par 3 course. It was an absolute blast, and he always would have an ice cream hole. So if I got an 8 or less, we'd be going for ice cream.
My first memory of golf really focused on driving the golf cart, being able to drive that cart.
You were a crazy driver.
I was a crazy driver, but it was what I look forward to. And what's really funny now, when I take my kids out play golf, that is the one thing, along with the snack bar, that they are most excited about.
Focus on the good stuff. Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
Hear that? The sound of adorable little birds in your garden. And if you were here, you'd taste the 2 sweet but tiny tomatoes you grew all by yourself. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens when you're riding your motorcycle, protected by Progressive, on your way to the store for a pack of normal-sized tomatoes. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without getting your hands dirty. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy, 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The headlines remind us daily the world is a dangerous place. The elites in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing. But you know better. And your gut knows that time is short to prepare for a world that is 4 missed meals away from chaos. My Patriot Supply has helped over 3 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contain delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Secure at least 1 food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200, plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour Foods. My Patriot Supply also has solar power generators, water filtration units, biomass stoves, heirloom seeds, and critical survival gear. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Hey, Omaha, on the hunt for tickets to the next big event? Look no further than TicketsForLess.com. Offering transparent, upfront pricing and stellar customer service, Tickets for Less ensures you're always going to score the best deal on your tickets. Shop online, swing by their store, 145th and West Center, or give them a ring at 402-398-1999. Plus, snag 10% off when you register on their free mobile app. Already a user? No problem. Just enter the promo code THEZONE for instant savings at TicketsForLess.com. Secure your seats and save big today with Tickets for Less.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers, and that radon levels in our region are some of the highest in the country? Do you know your radon level? Protect your family by contacting the experts at Radon Defense Midwest. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer to 1620 The Zone listeners. Get 50% off a professional radon test. radonradio.com. What's your level?
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, with everything we went through with the weather around here, a shout out the Chuck grounds crew.
Yeah.
Park looked great yesterday.
Yeah.
The field looked great. That took a lot of water, and it was a chore. You know, I tweeted out the picture of the dugout was flooded, but good job on them because the ballpark looked really good. I thought the field looked the best that it's looked all year.
Yep.
So good on them. That was a long day. It's a long stretch here, but the park on TV looked good. The team that was closest to it did not look so good. Mark writes into the Equitable Bank inbox about Husker baseball after a 15-2 no-show. We'll both always managing for the next game or the next situation for things that may never happen. Same thing will happen next weekend when the season will end with another thud. Remember what I said about the South Dakota State loss where they kind of treated it like a spring training
like
game?
an exhibition, yeah.
And F around, find out. Now, I'm okay with Sears not pitching last night because I think they know him better than we do.
Right.
Instead of counting days of rest, they were counting pitches, and also that pitches have started to He's thrown more pitches than he's ever thrown. But there's other parts of the lineup, the approach at the plate, those kind of things. But I do agree with Mark. It does think that Will is always thinking about the next one instead of in the moment. And that comes back also to there is some questionable stuff that goes on during the game.
Right.
How they manage in-game stuff. I think Will and his staff do a good job of getting guys up to the opening pitch. Where they've got to make the next step is as an entire staff of what are they doing 1 through 9 with decision-making, whether it be at the plate or on the mound, to win a game that they are playing a team that has a better guy on the bump, a better lineup, or similar talent.
Yeah, and that's the overthinking that goes into decisions like, again, to whether to start Sears or not. I thought, and you put Rob Childress into this conversation, at least I will, as from a standpoint of this was very minuscule because it was getting away from Nebraska so much. But Caleb Clark ends up throwing 36 pitches. I'm probably thinking that was 16 more than he needed to throw because you're watching, he wasn't attacking the zone, and when he was getting hit. I mean, he wasn't fooling anybody. So and this kind of goes back into what that email and what Mark is saying is, okay, if you're realizing that, and this is where I think it's okay to do that. If you're seeing a pitcher that clearly doesn't have his stuff, aren't you immediately thinking, okay, let's minimize his pitch count right now because chances are with the way this thing is going, we're going to lose. We're going to be in a loser's bracket situation. We need as many fresh arms as we can. Can we bring Caleb Clark back, say on Friday, if we got him down to 20? Now, I'm not trying to make a big deal of the difference between 36 pitches to 20 pitches, but I thought Caleb Clark was in the game way too long.
Yeah,
you could tell early on.
They're in trouble. I mean, you're going to have to play tonight. You're going to have to play Friday. You have to play twice on Saturday to get to Sunday. They just don't have enough reliable arms to get you through the games where it then becomes you got to score a lot of runs. Yeah. I don't have faith.
And this is why I was looking at Indiana as a team on that side of the bracket that could come out for the simple fact of they do have offense. In this tournament, we've typically seen there's been the occasional Maryland team that'll have some dominant pitching between their 1 and 2, but a lot of the teams that make it out that kind of slug their way to either Sunday or Saturdays because they're doing exactly that. They're slugging their way. I don't see that as this Nebraska team's MO.
Yeah, I've used a phrase about Nebraska that I'm going to bring up again in a discussion later on in the show about how we describe this team. Weird year. Omaha is playing today. Jimmy will have that and much more coming up in the update. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. And Jimmy at 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
Time-saving traffic is brought to you by Omaha Transmission.
You've probably heard about Omaha Transmission saving people money. Call Omaha Transmission and see why people have been recommending them for almost 20 years.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
Shop Sid Dillon Chevrolet, Nebraska's #1 volume Chevy dealer group. Visit us in Blair, Crete, Fremont, or Wahoo, or shop at SidDillonChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
The Nebraska Lottery presents 5 reasons the dollar bill is so great. First, it's always there when you need it. You can always find one folded up in your pocket just waiting to get you out of a jam. Second, it's humble. It doesn't strut around like a 50 or 100 waiting for people to compliment it. Third, it works hard. Whether you need more money for a tip or extra detergent at the laundromat, a dollar bill sure comes in handy. Fourth, it beats lugging around 100 pennies. And fifth, you can use it to buy a Lotto America ticket from the Nebraska Lottery. Lotto America only costs $1. It has a $2 million starting jackpot with drawings every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And you can add the All-Star bonus for an additional $1 to multiply any prize won. So visit a Nebraska Lottery retailer today and buy a Lotto America ticket. Ooh, sounds like someone tried to pay with 100 pennies. So sad.
Lotto America top prize odds, 1 in 26 million.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Got the happy hour blues? Get to Cops for happy hour relief with 2 happy hours from 3 to 6 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. till close Sunday through Friday. Cops serves 24-ounce domestic drafts for just $3 and 24-ounce craft drafts for only $4, plus $2 off appetizers. The restaurant that offers great pizza, burgers, and tasty charred wings now offers 2 great happy hours. Visit Cops today at 180th and Center, the Shadow Lake Town Center, and 72nd and Jones, or click copspizza.com. Cops, pizza, and so much more.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
Host is roasting every morning. At Host Coffee Services, every cup of coffee served comes with a promise of quality, innovation, and a dash of fun, ensuring your workday is as delightful as your coffee break. Call Host Coffee Services today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee Services is always roasting something good for you.
Car repair is car repair. Most places you go can change your oil or fix your brakes. The difference is the experience you'll get at Omaha Car Care. We're part of the community. We were born here, and we believe that our relationship with you should be built to last. We're going to consult you, not sell you. We're going to give you a free loaner car. We're going to treat you like a valued friend that we want to continue to see in the years to come. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Rough night for the young Corn Gentlemen as they are run-ruled by the student-athletes from Ohio State 15-2 last night at the Chuck. Jackson Brockett took a no-hitter to the second batter. It'll be do or die tonight against Purdue in the loser's bracket at 7 o'clock. It's true. It's how long he took it.
He didn't have it last night. He needed even if it's 3-0, if you can keep it 3-0 for a while, where you can pitch into the 5th or 6th. Again, we focus a lot on the pitching because that's where Nebraska's strength is.
Mm-hmm.
But man, where was the offense?
Yep.
But there's a nice bridge beyond the outfield if you miss the first hour.
And that's the thing. Even if you're going into the 4th inning, and I know we'll get back to this later on, but you're going into the 4th inning before that whole 8-run onslaught takes place. If you look like you have a pulse offensively, even though you have nothing to show for it, where you're putting pressure, getting guys on base, you're seeing some quality at bats that second time through, you're probably going to get the result you want. And there was zero evidence of that whatsoever, that they were even going to sniff their way back in this game.
It'll be do or die tonight against Purdue in the loser's bracket at 7 o'clock. Should be a nice night. About 70 at first pitch, not as windy as last night. Probably still should take a hoodie. Just trust me. Only subtract 10 degrees of the ballpark. Brett Sears, Mason McConaughey, Tyler Stein. Hey, again, positive. I'm the positive person.
The weather for all 3 games today are going to be fabulous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Day games are going to be
10, 2, and 7.
Just go to all of them. Eat all the concessions. Brett Sears, Mason McConaughey, Tyler Stone, Case Sanderson, Drew Christo receive all Big Ten honors. Sears was a first-team selection named Big Ten's Pitcher of the Year, becoming the first Nebraska pitcher to be named Pitcher of the Year since the Huskers joined the Big Ten. McConaughey and Stone were second-team honorees, while Sanderson was a third-team selection and named to the all-freshman team. Rounding out the Husker honorees was Christo, Nebraska's recipient of the Big Ten Sportsmanship Award. In bowling news, two-time NTCA All-American Jillian Martin made history last night as she becomes the youngest USBC Queens champion after defeating top-seeded Hope Gramley at the Ashwaubenon Bowling Alley. I don't know where that is. I don't care. Marking her second professional title and first career major. I just care about the winning stuff. This is great for her. It's features the best bowlers from around the country as they vie for the chance at the coveted tiara and a check of $60,000. That's what we need to give away at the Zone. $16.20 the tiara. Martin's victory marks the second straight Husker Queens champion. Martin also becomes the fifth Husker all-time to win the crown, and third in the last 4 years dating back to the 2021 Queens, won by current assistant coach Julia Bond. The more you know. The Columbus Clippers score 3 runs in the ninth inning to rally past the Storm Chasers in an exciting game, 8-7 last night at Warner Park. They trailed the Storm Chasers. They trailed 5-1 in the seventh inning. Then they led 6-5, and then they were down 8-7, and then there was no more time left to play because they were out of outs, and they were down, so they're declared losers of the game, but they'll play again tonight at 6:30. It's not a fun game, though. Omaha Baseball collects 12 All-Summit Awards, headlined by head coach Evan Porter, our friend, earning his second Career Coach of the Year award. Omaha's 12 honorees, a new program high, topping 10 All-Summit honors earned in the 2014 and 2019 seasons. Pretty good spring over there for baseball and softball. For Evan, he led the Mavericks to a league-high 16 conference wins and a number 1 seed in the Summit League tournament, which begins today after bringing 20 newcomers, having to replace some pretty good ball players as well. They face Northern Colorado at the conference tournament in Tulsa at noon today. In the NBA, Jaylen Brown saves Boston's ass as Indiana gives away Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, losing 133-128. You heard at the beginning, Rick Carlisle blames himself. Game 2 is tomorrow night, but he kind of acted like he knows something that we don't. So don't be surprised if Indiana wins Game 2. Now that I said that, count on Boston to win by 30. Tonight at the Target Center, speaking of, everyone's ass has been brought to Minnesota for the Western Conference Finals between Omaha's team, the Timberwolves, and Dallas's team, the Mavericks. Game 1 of hockey's Eastern Conference Finals features an original 6 matchup between the New York Rangers and Florida Panthers. It begins tonight in the hockey hotbed of Sunrise, the Saskatoon of the Sun Belt. Finally, the NFL will implement optical tracking systems for yardage rulings this preseason with the potential for full-time implementation. I was fine with the index cards, but fine. They want to do this. That's okay, too. The league considers this a test run of accuracy online to gain rulings, with the option to continue the use of measuring chains in 2024. Well, I don't know why we need this. We have the magic yellow line. The league has experimented with the system in the past, but would need to install it in every NFL stadium for functional use in the regular season. And I like to think Fox Sports kind of predicted this when they created Cletus, because that's going to end up being who officiates these games in about 20 years.
I'm
OCP is going to make officials.
I am really worried about the volunteers, the sticks and chains, the chain gang at football games, especially in high school where it is volunteers. Might be fellow coaches of other sports that go, and I mean that's what I want to do. So when my dad retired,
is that your retirement gig?
Well, my dad did it for 1 year.
Yeah.
So when he moved to South Florida, he was one of the years that Lane Kiffin was a head coach at FAU. My dad was on the chain gang.
Nice. Oh,
and he then he realized that he's not as quick.
Yeah.
Which I could have told him that when I came out of the womb. So he didn't do it. But I'm like, I want to do one time. I want to be on the chain gang. The little excitement there on the sidelines. You got to pull the chains. You got to make sure you get it marked. Like you got to put the marker on it. It gets kind of a little frantic.
Yeah.
But
FAU is very
pretty. It is worth it when you get to jog out onto the field and you get to stretch the chains with the help of the officials.
The feeling of stretching the chains, I think, would just be a blast.
I would like to do that when I retire, but I mean, just like everything else, technology is going to take that out of our hands.
Yep.
I feel bad for the volunteers. You go to like small town football games in the state, and it is like the pharmacist and the dentist are on the chain gang, and it's fabulous.
This is our town physician,
but they know
and
everybody.
That's our town veterinarian right there.
All right. Thanks, Jimmy. So what'd you tell me the attendance listed last night for Nebraska's game?
At 2,600, according to the box score. I
looked a little bit larger.
I thought so too. I'd want to challenge that one. I might have to reach out to Jared and see if that was exactly what went into that,
Just
because
reply to the email liar.
it did look, and you can always tell, and you know this too, Gary, when you watch a game, whether it's a Creighton game or a Nebraska game, or when they're both playing, you usually get a decent indication of what it looks like beyond the backstop on TV.
Yeah.
And then when they do a couple of pan out shots, I mean, there looked like there was, I would have guessed maybe 4 if I had to, based on what I could see on television. So 26-34, that's really light. That's very, very light.
They play at 10 a.m.
weeknight.
this morning, Illinois, Penn State.
There'll be 34 people there.
Big game for James Franklin.
Yeah.
And you
morning
can't
for a
be
game.
losing to teams that are below you in the
That's true.
standings.
Should go say hi to Kotelnicki.
Hey,
big recruiting day.
So sneaky thing that just hit me when I opened my car door this morning.
Not water.
No.
Not water. No, not water at all.
Or a bird.
Or a bird.
How are the birds back?
Yeah, they're back.
Oh, okay, sorry, man.
Yeah, and you know what? You know when they start? 3:30.
Oh.
And they will only go for about 40 minutes. So
you're up then.
So I'm the rubber snake is going to come back out along with my owl.
Telling you,
and my fireworks.
The rubber snake more effective than the owl for me when we had that problem too.
Telling you, the fireworks were effective, man. I blew those birds out of that tree.
And much more fun to watch.
Do you know that there is one of the sneaky good things that is an enjoyment in life that is very, very small, but it'll make your day?
Yeah, that's my wife. Sorry.
I wasn't even going to
Wow.
say anything. I mean, I was thinking inappropriate things, but
I
I,
mean,
was going to
come on.
sit this one out.
Someone had to do it. So, all right.
So your wife went to a clinic?
That reads later in the hour.
Wow. That's I guess big of you that you admitted that. But
No
you know,
small
like when
feat.
you go somewhere and you pick up food,
Yeah.
and you have it sitting in your car while you're driving home or driving wherever.
Mhm.
And then if it's really good, the aroma will last for maybe a day or two when you initially open the car door.
Yeah, wings from Oscars.
So I went to Lighthouse Pizza the other night.
Oh,
Took it to go watch the Timberwolves Nuggets game. It's Wednesday. And the smell of the pizza, which is great.
That
It's
was
not
on
a bad
Sunday.
smell. It's still like when I opened the
Oh.
car door this morning,
Yep.
I was like, oh yeah.
Still there. You're hungry too, aren't
Hey,
you?
that's a sneaky,
It is.
like a good, want to get off to a good start?
It can cut both ways though.
I've never
Well,
had
but-
this.
You could have the lingering stench from something that was actually good to eat, but doesn't carry over well as
Yeah.
far as car smell. I'm with you. Pizza
Okay, so-
typically does, and for some reason, wings. I want to say if they have more garlic, so I'm a big Parm garlic fan of wings. That typically gives you a nice little 48-hour aroma too. That I do not mind at all.
I don't need to go buy one of those fresheners. I just need to go buy takeout, drive home with it. You know, you gotta have like about a 15-minute ride.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
so the car can soak it in.
Mhm.
And then it'll last for a day or two. But when I got in this morning and I smelled that, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
You want pizza?
oh,
Yeah.
I was immediately in a good mood.
It was a lot
good.
better than yesterday morning when
And
you were running inside with the
Yeah.
sirens going off.
Yeah. And then I looked to my left and I'm like, oh, Center Street's going to be closed for 6 weeks.
And no longer in a good mood.
Yeah. All right. When we come back tomorrow, I might be bad on math because other than the flashcards and around the world, I sucked at math.
Mm.
But I think tomorrow is 100 days to kick off for Nebraska. And then
I believe that is
and then
correct.
add
Yes.
another week for Colorado. We haven't talked about the Nebraska-Colorado game this week until our
already
next
Wednesday.
segment because I've got a question as I think about Nebraska-Colorado.
Yes.
We will do that when y'all return. It's mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy. Brandon Vogel will join us a little bit later on 1620 The Zone. Hey, you can join all of us that are looking good, feeling good, and have trusted our fit to Lindley Clothing this spring, now into summer. And especially, you got Father's Day, and you're wondering, okay, what am I going to get for Father? Everybody gets like the same thing. Am I going to get him a gift card? You know what? How about surprise him and take him to Lindley Clothing and dress your dad? Yeah, how cool would that be? What did your kids give you for Father's Day? Oh, they took me to Lindley Clothing, and they said, dress dad. And John and Marlene went to work, and they were like, and the next thing you know, he's walking out of there with Jack Victor, like a Baroni suit. They can do it for you. They're Omaha's premier provider of men's fashion. Think about Father's Day, dress dad. Get dad something he wants. It's not just suits. You got short sleeve shirts. It's a lot of stuff for the spring. It's colors that pop, and it's a feeling of, when you stop by Linden Clothing and Well Suited, conveniently located in the Linden Market at 132nd and West Dodge.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. The Connor Happer Show.
The big Board of Regents meeting about alcohol at Haymarket Park. Regent Kathy Wilmot does not agree with the phrasing of it enhancing the experience for fans. She wants to point out that it's only enhancing the experience for adult fans. She wants the Regents to think of the families who attend these events.
I want that Regent to shut the hell up. Sometimes Papa needs a beer, am I right?
I just can't get fired up about this.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mainly dry on Wednesday with cloud cover early on, giving way to mostly sunny skies. Mild, comfortable afternoon with highs in the mid-70s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. Center closing both directions starting today for the next few weeks between 64th and 67th. Slower right now, JFK northbound between Highway 275 and I-80. And potential for a little bit of traffic buildup with the Big Ten baseball tournament continuing today. First game at 10 a.m. with 2 more games to follow. Remember to stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Lotto America from the Nebraska Lottery is here. It only costs $1 to play, features a starting jackpot of $2 million, and has drawings Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Play today. Lotto America top prize odds, 1 in 26 million.
Host is roasting every morning.
Host Coffee Services stands as the vibrant heart of every break room, offering the unique fusion of traditional quality and modern flair. We're not just your coffee provider, we're the center of memorable workplace moments. Call us today.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee Services is always roasting something good for you.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
It's Champions replacement window season, and we're celebrating with buy 2 windows, get 2 free. If your windows are drafty, difficult to operate, or costing you money on your energy bill, it's time to replace them. Champion Windows is here to help. Champion builds our own windows right here in the USA. We make the process easy. We help you choose the best design options for your home. We then build your project in our very own factory. Our install team manages your project every step of the way, and it's all backed by our lifetime guarantee. Turn your house into your dream home with more livable space in a new Champion sunroom, or enhance your curb appeal with new siding, now 30% off. Don't wait, this sale won't last long. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and 30% off sunrooms and siding. Call 877-GO-CHAMPION or visit championsavenow.com to schedule a free in-home estimate today. All discounts apply to our regular prices. Select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
Enjoy baseball, food, and fun for the whole family as you watch the Storm Chasers this season at Werner Park. Don't miss any of the excitement happening at the ballpark. See what's coming up at OmahaStormChasers.com.
Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm, we're family.
Every day, the Salvation Army helps those most in need in the Omaha Council Bluffs Metro. When natural disasters strike, when the cupboard is bare, when those recovering from addiction need support, and more, the Salvation Army is there to help. We invite you to connect with us online to learn about our services, volunteer, donate, or get assistance. You'll find links to our Facebook page and Twitter feed and much more information at salarmyomaha.org. The Salvation Army, doing the most good right here in the Metro.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
This week's Zone Deal is Mex Eatly Restaurant located in downtown Omaha. Mex Eatly has authentic Mexican food prepared in an artisanal way with fresh products highlighting the original flavors of Mexican cuisine. With this deal, you'll get two $25 vouchers, a $50 value for $25. It's on sale starting this Friday, May 24th at 9 a.m. Get all the details at 1620thezone.com.
They talk about jobs that do not turn over, like roster spots in the WNBA.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
they don't.
They do not turn over.
You're
That's why
right.
very few draft picks make rosters.
Yeah, continuity.
Which makes like the Kate Martin story from Iowa making the Aces roster. She went to the draft, wasn't expected to get drafted. She got drafted by Las Vegas. You know, there's no guarantee that a draft pick's going to make a WNBA roster. She not only makes the roster, and now she's getting $100,000 from the Las Vegas, Tourism Commission to play for the Aces.
Nice.
But also, here are other jobs in sports that hardly ever turn over. Working at the scorers table at Creighton men's and women's basketball, Nebraska men's and women's basketball, and the chain gang in Lincoln.
Yeah.
So I used to do the sidelines. There are a lot of the same individuals that do the chains for Nebraska football that were doing it like back in the Big 12 days. Those jobs never turn over.
Yeah,
but I go to Omaha and at our scorers table, I mean,
Norm will be there.
Mike Bovey might be the official scorekeeper one night.
You got Norm, who's been there forever. Tom Jelenic, who still wears the stripes for Omaha, or not Omaha, for Creighton basketball games. He's still the official scorer on the scorers table.
Yeah, he's been doing it for.
Oh yeah,
we about 4+ decades.
I would say so because the last time I did Creighton women's basketball PA, that was early 2000s, and he was there, and he'd been doing it that was probably his maybe 15th, 20th year by the time I was doing it, and he's still there. And he looks the same every time I'll watch a game on TV or I'll be out there. You can always see Tom right there. And then there's a lot of familiar faces that have been doing it, for probably close to 30 years now.
Oh. All right.
I see a lot of games.
All right. So you guys got some time.
You get a free meal.
Retire, and I want to be on the chain gang.
You get a little. Some of those guys get paid. Some of them don't. But you also get a free meal usually, as long as the media meal exists.
You get water.
There's that. Yep.
You stay hydrated.
Plenty of water.
You get to be at a sporting event.
Absolutely.
That's all that matters.
And you're right in the thick of it.
All right. So I'm going to ask this question, and I realize the majority of our audience that is listening, where your allegiance fall. Andy Staples said yesterday on a podcast. Well, he said a couple of things. One, he has Nebraska preseason ranked. It might be time. To just say F it and go all in. Not today. That's for another day. But there's a lot. I mean, Nebraska football.
By the way, today is 100 days.
Oh, it is 100 days.
Today's 100
okay.
days. Yeah.
So 100 days.
Oh.
We could do tomorrow the countdown of the best 99. Which player wore number 99? But Andy Staples, like a couple of others, Nebraska's a very trendy pick. We always say, well, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. The national people are drinking the Kool-Aid, and Nebraska has become a trendy pick. Andy Staples yesterday has them ranked in the top 25.
It's 101.
He also said, I think it's 101.
It's 101. Tomorrow's 100.
Oh, let's see. Okay.
Yeah, because all the school...
You know where I went? Who has the countdown?
Husker Max?
Yeah. They're showing me.
Yeah.
Let me go back to it. Make sure.
I think
they're showing me 100 days, 22 hours, 27 minutes, 5 seconds.
Well, that's why, because you're now officially under 100 days.
Yeah, okay.
So,
oh, you're right. 22 hours. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're
Like that explanation.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good. Thanks.
Uh,
I just looked at the first number.
because all the schools are going to do 100 days till Husker football tomorrow themes.
So-
That's true.
So he also said backup quarterbacks are scared of Deion Sanders, which I get. I mean, his kid's the starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But the Colorado game will be here before you know it. We haven't spoken about Colorado all week, but there is also the possibility that Nebraska will play 3 home night games in the month of September. 3 home night games.
Bring yes.
They're not playing Minnesota. No. So I got to thinking about this, about Colorado. You know, the win totals are out there. Colorado has already said they going to go to a bowl game.
Yep.
Some have said
Buy
going to
tickets?
compete for a playoff. I realized when I posed this question, my audience, but think about it for a moment here. Who needs to win the 24 version of Nebraska, Colorado more? Colorado or Nebraska? Who needs to win it more?
I still say Nebraska.
It's Nebraska. This isn't even a homer. It's
Yeah.
Nebraska.
I just history, home game, everything that we wanted to get out of this with a night game. Everything about it just feels like there is more on Nebraska to get this done. Again, you can look at what it could mean for the entire season, what it means to the fan base, the history with Colorado here as of late. That this is, to me, this is more important for Nebraska.
If they lose, what happens on Overreaction or Monday on the show? That's
Yeah. So I'm going to be. This is great radio. I'm going to be like RFK Jr. only from the standpoint of being independent. Isn't that what he's technically is?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, there's nothing else about him. Like
Yeah.
I've never had a worm in my brain.
Right, or Aaron Rodgers as your
I
roommate.
have drank and almost ate the worm,
We've all
and then
been
realized
there.
how disgusting that would have been.
Mhm.
That used to be a thing.
Yeah.
In my generation, when we were in our 20s, that was like a goal. I don't hear a lot of people that stop me on the street and say, "My goal is to avoid the worm or eat the worm."
I've never heard the
Now
younger generation
you
even bring it
might
up.
go to drink at Eat the Worm.
Yeah.
But in terms of out of the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
I think Star Trek 2 ruined that.
So I think this question, and I could make the case for both sides. I know that's terrible radio. That's like, you know what? Why don't you just be Switzerland and then add like Holland? Okay. From the Colorado standpoint, I could almost tell you that it's more important because Colorado, to go to a bowl game, probably is going to count on a win at Nebraska as being one of their games they're going to win. Also, maybe this is the better way to form this question about this game, is whose narrative changes more with a win?
Ooh, that's
Remember, Colorado on the road.
Right. See,
on the road, atmosphere, people got eyeballs. Game 2 of year 2.
Yeah.
Then it's game 2 of year 2 in Lincoln. The narrative changes more by which team if they win this game.
Yep, that's where I think you're on with Colorado then.
So I just
he will be.
So we've done
his
this
mouth.
where I'm giving love to both sides. I
Yep.
know that probably I'm going to fall down the stairs and hurt my ankle because I said something maybe positive about Colorado. But for Nebraska's standpoint, needs it more. They need it more
Mhm.
because if all of a sudden you're 1-1 in this game that is going to be built up in the atmosphere, you've kicked yourself again. You can't get out of your own way on a big stage.
Yeah.
Which has been an issue.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you go from being a trendy offseason love affair to, oh geez, here we go again. They're 1-1. And then you'll hear this is what you'll hear. Oh my, it's 2019 all over again.
Right.
The hype going into the 19 season, and the next thing you know,
Yep.
they're 1-1. So vitally important for Nebraska. If you're trying to convince me that, okay, moving forward, because it's beat a team that you're favored against, win a home game,
Mm-hmm.
and when you have hype for a game, because Nebraska, this is a Nebraska athletic thing, you were able to get out of your own way and post a W. For Colorado, you imagine the hype and the love for CU football if they came into Lincoln and won?
No, I would pick to win the
It'd be
AFC
2-0 because you can't if you're gonna buy Nebraska in the offseason, you can't all of a sudden go, oh yeah, Colorado. It doesn't really. No, you if you like Nebraska in the offseason, Colorado winning in Lincoln, you'd have to give some roses to Colorado and go, okay,
yeah,
things might be a little bit different at CU.
I think the part about the narrative, the reason I would say Colorado, because if you think about it, even the 4 games that they won last year, 2 of those games were on the road. But, okay, TCU was a decent environment because they're coming off of a national championship runner-up. But Arizona State, no. Their other 2 wins are at home. So it's not necessarily Colorado won on the road. They haven't done that. But this would be, without question, the most significant environment, night game like that, amped up. And then you brought up just what Andy Staples and other people are saying about Nebraska is the national media is falling in love with Nebraska as a potential top 25 team to the point that people are actually putting them into their preseason top 25. You go into Lincoln with all of that animosity, almost a la, was it 2000? Trying to remember was it 11 or 10? 2010 Nebraska, Texas, the red out around the world. You get that type of buildup.
What a horrible game.
And I know, Garrett Gilbert.
What a horrible Texas team.
Yes.
It wasn't very good. And Garrett Gilbert, Garrett Gilbert turned out to be not very good. But you get all of that hype, all of that animosity towards a team coming in, and they're still able to get the last laugh. What that could not only do to their program, but to the whole just presence of Dion and Shador. Because I'm assuming if Colorado goes in and beats Nebraska, that Shador would have a major role in that. What that would do to that overall Colorado presence, I think would be very, very big. For Nebraska, let's go the other way with this. Nebraska wins that game. You feel like, okay, great. Got it done finally. And trust me, it's not going to be short-lived. People are going to be excited about that. It'll work itself all the way into probably the following Thursday. But there still are more major obstacles on that schedule to where nobody's looking at Colorado as this overly talented, legit top 25 team. They're just looking at Colorado from a standpoint of, I hate them. So you still got some much bigger challenges on your schedule ahead, where I think this is, again, where Nebraska fans have gone through a little bit of the tease, 7-0 start in year 2 with Riley. You get that Oregon game, you're thinking, okay, this is going to be good. But I still think Nebraska fans, despite having a good start, if you could have that good start, still want to see how this team finishes.
Kyle chimes in on Twitter at Gary Sharp 1620. Nebraska's season's over if they lose at home to Colorado.
I gotta cancel it.
I'm not going to push back on that.
It's going to be very deflating.
This game will be built up as the showcase game to say this is where progress is.
Mm-hmm.
Have you requested
It
that
would really.
It'd be very deflated if they lose that game.
If you tripped up in week 2, there would not be probably as much excitement for the Northern Iowa game to follow.
No.
Which is the real big game that it'll be gearing up towards.
Well, it would just add to what will probably be some angst about the schedule this upcoming fall. So it will further add to both sides and the level of importance that this game will mean to the narrative, the big picture, your current state, all of the above. Can't wait.
Yeah, tomorrow's 100 days. We'll celebrate.
Yeah,
nobody has ever worn 100 for Nebraska.
That is true.
Yeah,
we can't celebrate that individual. In your opinion, is that a fair comparison as far as the buildup of this particular game? Again, since they're both at home now, the Texas game wasn't at night, but there's a similar circling of this game. Must have it.
Nope, because people have learned their lessons and there are adults in the room. There will not be some stupid.
I'm not talking about the team.
I mean, stupid campaign thing.
Yeah.
Okay. They won't do that. And they won't make the mistake that Scott Frost did. They put everything into that game in Boulder in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Tuck was coming on them right at midfield. I mean, you saw him celebrating. That they were done. They were done. Troy Walters was done after that game. They put so much into that game, and it affected them. Now, it's not like they then went on, they lost their next game and their next game, but you know how that season went. There are adults in the room, so there won't be a marketing campaign.
You're right. I'm talking about more of the fan base as far as how much they are.
Oh, it would be.
They are looking into this thing. I don't remember this much anticipation. Again, we're 101 days away. I think it's comparable without the gimmicky.
Lincoln will have the same
slogans.
feel. I know there've been a lot of comparisons about the loudest, angriest crowd in there, but outside of the stadium, being in Lincoln for that day, it will have the same kind of feel as the 21 Michigan game. Night game. Yeah. It is Michigan.
Right.
There was a lot of buildup, man. If they can get this game,
Yeah.
I'm sure
See,
before kickoff, it'll be very similar to that.
I think they're going to win, but you make me nervous when you say that.
Mel got a win in court recently.
All right, Mel.
Yeah.
Put the phone down.
44 past the hour.
It's the next break, Nick. This one's just tickets for less.
Just the way you snuck that in there.
Well, sometimes you give it away and sometimes you take it away. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy Hunt, 1620 The Zone. The Big Ten baseball tournament rolls on today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You could be at the Chuck to check out Big Ten baseball, and you could do it with the best seats in the house from ticketsforless.com. Or what about the Royals? Huge game today. The Royals are rolling. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to do great for the tourism between Omaha and Kansas City on I-29. And to get the best seats, because, man, they're starting to believe in KC and the seats are starting to fill up. My friends at ticketsforless.com can take care of you. The best seats to the best events, including that big baseball event coming up in less than a month downtown. Ticketsforless.com is your friend. Transparent pricing. What you see is what you pay. There is no per ticket fees. None of that goofy business. Tickets for Less is straightforward, top-notch customer service, and even better, when you use ticketsforless.com on your next order, use my promo code THEZONE. It is like money in the bank with a great deal on your next order. Ticketsforless.com. Use the promo code THEZONE.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
At Cox Mobile, we know you're smart. You brush your teeth in the shower to save time, make coffee ice cubes for your cold brew, and wear goggles to cut onions. You also added Cox Mobile. So smart. Now you're running on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability and saving on your Cox internet. It's ingenious, just like you.
Aw, thanks.
Cox Mobile, the smart way to mobile. Cox postpaid internet required. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. to H 2023. Other restrictions apply. Learn more at cox.com/mobile.
Runza and the Omaha Storm Chasers team up to play as the Omaha Runzas. Be at Werner Park on Saturday, June 8th for Runza Night. The team takes the field in special jerseys to be auctioned off during the game. Enjoy in-game stadium Runzas for one night only, and the first 1,200 fans will get a special Runza sun hat to help block those summer rays. Get your tickets today at OmahaStormChasers.com.
Omaha Storm Chasers family. Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm, we're family.
Like eating out? Like saving money? Then get to Cops at 180th and Center, Shadow Lake Town Center, or 72nd and Jones for their daily specials. Tuesday is $3 off all burgers and sandwiches. Wednesday, buy any specialty pizza and get a one-topping 50% off. Then Thursday, all wings are $1 each when you order 10. And this just in, all Cops locations now offer their own delivery service. Click copspizza.com to see the menu. Cops, pizza, and so much more.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 pre-K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the CUES Fund Board, which supports the CUES school system. To learn more, go to CUES Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
Would you just give your house key to criminals?
Having your personal information on the internet is like giving a thief the key to your home. They can take everything that's valuable to you anytime. But JoinDeleteMe.com can help you protect yourself. Online data brokers compile information about you and sell it to people who could ruin your life. But JoinDeleteMe.com scours the web, removes the personal information you don't want seen, and prevents data brokers, scammers, identity thieves, even political enemies from getting personal information that could hurt you, your family, or your reputation. You'll get regular reports detailing what they find and remove. And JoinDeleteMe.com isn't AI. It's real people working to keep your data safe. Keep your private life private with JoinDeleteMe.com. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/deal and use promo code DEAL at checkout. Go to joindeleteme.com/deal and enter code DEAL at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/deal, code DEAL.
Jake runs the family business and likes to take his kids fishing on the weekends. Mike, he never misses his favorite team's game, even though it's not always good for his blood pressure. Paul just became a grandfather for the first time, and he's thinking about retirement. Jake, Mike, and Paul, all good guys, and they are registered organ donors. You see, you don't have to be perfect to help others. In fact, anyone can register to be a donor. There are no age limits or health restrictions, and all it takes to sign up is checking a box when you get your driver's license or hunting and fishing permit. Heck, you can even do it online today. Good guys save lives, and one day you could save up to 8 lives as an organ donor and help even more through tissue donation. Get the facts and see how easy it is to register at goodguysavelives.com. That's goodguysavelives.com.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Whoa. You know what makes the 1620 The Zone listening audience so good, men or women, is that, man, we are just, we get after it. Like, we don't still, like, tiptoe into a party. Like, we break the door down, use the sledgehammer to clean house. I mean, the beer goggles come off, and it's just, woo! We got a lot of, like, professional drinkers. So, Dookie Clint here, he goes,
Hey.
I drank the worm and did a sushi kamikaze shot.
Oh.
They put a live goldfish in it.
I've heard of that. Have never even
Poor
attempted to
fishy.
do that, but good summer school reference. Yeah, I've heard of that, but I've never done it.
Mike says he drank the worm 5 straight shots. Don't do that.
I saw the
Then you
worm
might
play in
turn
person.
into then you could have like an RFK situation going on. Yeah, eventually one of those things is probably going to stick with you and maybe cause some damage.
Sorry, you
I don't
say
know where it
RFK,
goes.
I just think of the Hogettes. Sorry, nice bouncing stadium.
I've once even I wouldn't even say attempted, but had the bottle in the vicinity with the tequila with the worm, and I chickened out. Yeah.
Did you ask, at least like the first time you see it in tequila, you go, why is there a worm
Yes.
in my
And I've-
tequila
and
or mezcal?
And I've never gotten a good answer. I've got I don't know. It just is.
Do you want to drink or not?
Yeah. Quit asking stupid questions.
Isn't it a throwback to the myth and the legend of mezcal?
I don't know.
I think that's what I've been told.
Okay.
I've done a lot of stupid stuff in my life when it comes to consuming alcohol. That is not one of them. Even though I've been with somebody that I encouraged to do it because I thought it was pretty cool.
Right. Better
It's
than
like, now you do it. No.
Before there were
That'd
content
be crazy to do
creators,
that.
there was Gary Sharp, the influencer. I had some dumb friends in college
You
that
crawled
I
so
could
they could
convince them to do anything. Like, I'm like, hey, if you do it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
And then
I mean,
and then you're nowhere to be found as soon as
Yeah.
they got done.
those are the friends that years later are still in my phone under the Neanderthal category. Because we all have them.
I actually
Oh,
wondered
yeah.
if this was
Yeah.
that
Don't you guys separate your friends? Like, you have your like really cool, they're ride or die friends that
Yep.
have been with you forever.
Yep.
Then you have like your uppity friends.
Yep.
who
Oh
they-
yeah.
who they seem to have come out of the woodwork here in the last month and a half, just dropping graduation party announcements in my mailbox.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, you know what your kid is getting? He's getting a Starbucks gift card.
Because that'll be useful when you go to
Hell,
college.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, like Saturday, I'm be all over town
Yeah.
graduation parties. But those are like the friends that are, a little bit more uppity.
Yeah.
Like when you want to go and play golf and they belong to really nice golf
Yep.
courses, you're like, hey, what are you doing? And if they're like, hey, we're playing golf this weekend, I'm like, okay. And then maybe you get the invite.
You're waiting.
Yeah.
See, for me, I've thrown it out there. I have a friend that goes to the course that you go to that lives on that course. And then another one over at Champions. And both times they've brought up, oh, yeah, I'm a member there. And so you're waiting. You're like, naturally, the invite's coming. And it doesn't. And then, but then you'll run into them. And it always happens. This is where I always run into my uppity friends at the College World Series. And then you have that conversation. Oh, yeah, we need to get together. Hey, let's go hit it up. 18. All right, cool. Yeah. You know what? By the way, I'm a member at this club. All right, cool. Yeah. I've never played there. All right, cool. Yeah, we'll set it up. Don't hear from them until next year, College World Series. I know we've been meaning to do that and we haven't. And I'm like, yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. There's times where I want to be like bougie and they're in my phone of like they're marked.
Yeah.
And then I do have my Neanderthal friends. Like I just want to go be a meathead.
So what do you think your Neanderthal meathead friends do now on a typical weekend as opposed to the bougie friends? I think we all know what our bougie friends are up to. What about the Neanderthal
they
friends?
They act like they're middle child, which the middle child doesn't give an F.
No.
Okay.
Shout out Jan.
They learned that. They learned that'll best
the
suit
first child is like mature.
Yep.
The middle child is like let's just roll with life.
Yep.
That's how my Neanderthal friends, probably with their kids, on the weekends, they act like their middle child. And it's glorious, except for their wives or wife.
Well, typically I don't want to, again, go into the stereotypes of the Neanderthal friends, but if they're still married, chances are it's not their first marriage.
Oh, I have a Neanderthal friend who I would say that who he's married to, she's a Neanderthal as well.
I was just going to say there might be the equal match.
I
That's
do have a friend, and now that they're empty nesters, they are the Neanderthal couple. It doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday or a Saturday.
Pineapple
it's the
out
same.
front?
Well, not like that.
Oh.
But the way that they get after the booze and partying, and they're older than me.
Damn.
I'd be celebrating if I had an empty nest as well.
That's true.
Or binging empty nest.
That is true.
I mean, sometimes when you send a kid off to college and you think, oh gosh, we got rid of him. Then they have this thing called the summer and they come back and they use this excuse. Oh, I got an internship at a place in Omaha and I have to stay in my room again.
Or the winter break where they have this new thing called J-term, yet they're not participating in J-term. So they're with you for almost 2 months. You've experienced that.
I hated going home.
That's why it's good to say, hey, you know what? Going skiing and golf as in Colorado looks great.
Yeah.
Why don't you go visit some of your other friends?
God, you got way more time. You don't want to spend it here. You're not going to have any fun here. Come on.
Hey,
go find out about
for anybody that has kids that went away to college and have come back. I will say that first week is pretty jarring because you all of a sudden went from like a quiet atmosphere to all of a sudden it's now anarchy and there are a ton of people in your house.
Yeah.
That you haven't seen in 6 months.
Probably smells different in the house now too.
And you're sleeping until 10:30. You're coming home at 3.
Yep.
You're like, where are you going? Going to play poker? You're like, oh my God.
See, and that was
wake up for Plinko.
So I'm the youngest of 4 boys, so I didn't have a definitive middle, but my second oldest brother, that was him. And he was out till 3. He's probably sleeping till noon. We'd be up and at it early in the morning. We'd be throwing usually some type of rubber ball at the door of his bedroom just to piss him off. And I'll say this, he went 100%. When he was up, he was 100% balls to the wall.
He's Dennis Rodman.
He's toned it down a bit though. Now that he's in his 50s.
So you're the baby.
I'm the baby. Yeah. Okay. So I'm the clingy. I'm needy. I need the attention. All that stuff.
All right. This is an upcoming conversation. Doesn't matter if you're Neanderthal or you're bougie or you're just an average Jane or Joe. There is something that may happen that is going to trigger people because can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Can you feel it?
We will get into that coming up after the top of the hour. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. Hey, how would you like to go to a place where you got to take care of your health and they get to know you by name, not a number, where they make the visit personal? They know that you need some help and they want to help you. That's what they do at Mentality, where they are the best. They educate you on low testosterone if you have it. They inform you of the potential side effects. They demonstrate the care and they have passion. And they're passionate and compassionate about you that may be dealing with low testosterone. You got low libido. You're disinterested in your spouse or partner. It could lead to relationship problems. That's where Mentality comes into play. Local healthcare facility right off a center where they are dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. You're anxious, you have belly fat that you can't get rid of, you're irritable. Yeah, these are all symptoms of possible low testosterone. And with Mentality, they will help diagnose it. Now, all it does is get you a physical. That's where it starts, I should say. Get you a physical. Go to lowtusa.com, schedule a physical. They'll check you out, complete blood panel results. They'll sit down with you. And if you have low testosterone, they will present a plan that can get you back to feeling like yourself 5 to 10 years ago. You don't have to live with low T because that's where Mentality comes in to get rid of it and help you get right back on the right path with their board-certified physicians. For more information, go to the website lowtusa.com. It is Mentality.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. Eastbound on the Dodge Expressway just past 192nd obstruction in the middle lane. There is a deer there. Do stay right or left in that area. Center Street closing today 64th to 67th for the next few weeks. And the Big Ten baseball tournament continuing today down at Charles Schwab Field. First pitch today at 10 a.m. Expect a little bit of traffic buildup. And remember to stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
Time-saving traffic is brought to you by Pyramid Roofing. If you've seen the white trucks with Rufus, the spotted dog, then you know about Pyramid Roofing. Replace your siding, windows, roof, or gutters. Call Pyramid Roofing at 402-502-9300 or visit
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
It's RV Ready time. Let's check in with Ed at Leach Camper Sales.
We've been your hometown family-owned RV dealer for over 60 years now, making campers happy. And there's a reason they keep coming back. Simply the best quality products, fair prices, and our amazing dedicated people. Whether you're just buying your first camper or if you're ready to travel in one year-round, we can help you decide which RV fits you best. If you've never been, come on over and we'll show you around. And don't forget, coffee's always on.
The world's largest sports book in Las Vegas is available right at your fingertips in Iowa. The Circa Sports Iowa app is sports betting the way it should be. Bet anywhere in Iowa and experience high betting limits, tight money line splits, and exceptional customer service. Download your new bookie today. Visit circasports.com and start betting like a pro from anywhere in Iowa. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-238-7633.
Hey, you hear that? That's the sound of loose change in your pocket reminding you to buy a 99-cent medium fountain drink from Casey's. So the next time you hear this, you already know where to go. 99-cent medium fountain drinks. It's not crazy. It's Casey's.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Host is roasting every morning.
How does Host Coffee Services provide the best coffee for your workplace? By finding the richest and most robust coffee beans from all around the world and bringing them to our Nebraska roastery, where your coffee is roasted fresh and delivered straight to you.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee Services is always roasting something good for you.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, good Wednesday morning, everybody. Nebraska baseball last night, not good. Not good at all. Now they'll send Brett Sears to the mound tonight at 7 o'clock to keep their Big Ten tournament hopes alive. I think for most, tonight is for sanity. And they send out the Big Ten pitcher of the year. Nebraska's RPI, after being blistered last night 15-2, fell to 35. The RPI is good. The eyeballs, not so much. RPI tells you they're a 2 seed. Eyeballs, the way they played, would tell you they're a 3 seed.
Yes.
Depending on what day of the week you look at Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska, Sunday to Wednesday now, 3-11 in their last 14. So Sears goes against Purdue tonight at 7 o'clock. I wonder if the Big Ten Network will have a Will Bolt cam. Just an ISO on him in the dugout for his reaction. Now, if you're going to lay an egg like last night, not bad to have your ace out there.
Yeah.
But you were thinking he would pitch on Thursday at 2.
Mm-hmm.
But for the sanity of not only Nebraska not going the 2 in the queue here, you would need Brett Sears to pitch well.
Yeah.
Like to look fairly dominating when he takes the next week off and pitches in the opening game of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. That the extra day of rest that you wanted to give him, which again, totally for it. The bigger picture is the NCAA tournament, and you want to show up there. You want to put yourself in a position to win that first game. But yeah, there needs to be a level of effectiveness, just like how this team responds. I think the way that Brett Sears looks tonight, is also going to be very reflective of this team in being able to look better offensively. But I'll say this. Will it change your feeling of this team? Let's say Nebraska.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. They're a good team. They're not great. They've never been great.
No.
They're a good team that appears to kind of be hanging on.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
They had a good start to the season. It benefited them with the metrics, and they've been middling for the last month or so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, thank God they have Brett Sears and Mason McConaughey.
Yep.
Those guys have pushed them through on the weekends, but it's almost like they're hanging on. Maybe they're hanging on just to achieve the goal, which was the number one goal this year, was to make the NCAA tournament.
To get back into it, yeah.
But you'd like, for your sanity, you'd like some good baseball to be played tonight. And then, tell you, it would help even to get to Saturday. Even if you got no chance of winning 2 games on Saturday because you're pitching, you would still feel better going into next week that at least you could win 1 game and not go 2 in the queue. Because it would be a long conversation in Husker baseball Twitter that at times has become unhinged if you have back-to-back 2 in the queues.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't be here for it. We'd be talking about Phil Steele's magazine a month away if that was the case. Just kidding.
Counting down.
The thing that I almost have to find myself going back to the stats, because this is, again, where the eyeball test tells you one thing, and then you look at the stats, you're like, okay, something's not jiving. But there is one area that when I do think of going back to the offense, again, I wouldn't be shocked if they have a good offensive approach today because of the confidence that they get from Sears on the mound that I think carries over. You're right.
And I'm not the only one saying this. Actually, players have said when we get a good start, we actually respond better.
Yeah, we feel great about it.
They've said that publicly.
This is a team, if I were to tell you that their opponents are hitting 346, but as a team, Nebraska's hitting 292. And then you watch yesterday the way that they looked offensively and the way that they've looked in midweek games offensively. That number is actually better than I would have thought. But then there's a number that does show itself, whether we're talking weekend games or any of their weekend losses where they haven't swept the team, or in their midweek losses, is a strikeout number, where it's still very eye-popping at 448 strikeouts.
All right, 7 o'clock tonight, Nebraska and Purdue at the Day Trader. Before I get to the question I'm asking, can you feel it? Ross Dellinger, who has done a great job of talking about all the stuff that goes on in the offseason college football. College football on the field is great. College football off the field is terrible. Okay, it is a mess right now. This is the next bombshell that he has dropped that probably would be the last straw for a college football fan. It would ruin college football more than anything else that's happening now. Ross Dellinger is reporting that a guy by the name of Drew Weatherford for the last year has held meetings with 50 FBS programs. With revenue sharing looming, multiple ADs are seriously exploring his private capital fund, an immediate $50 to $200 million. Is this what you need to survive? Dellinger asked an AD, and he said, absolutely. Can you imagine private equity coming for the NCAA? If college football goes private capital, hello, the NFL looks better and better every day, right?
We joked about this, and I think it was either a caller or somebody on the stream talked about at what point will the PIF be involved in college football. There you go. Not saying the PIF would be.
What if you found out that your athletic director met with one of these people?
I would just say, then what are we even doing with college sports?
I mean,
here?
bad athletic directors are going to turn their programs into Red Lobster.
Yeah.
And then they're going to blame the portal and the NIL when it happens, and they'll blame the kids. And you know what?
Won't even get biscuits.
What's going on here in college athletics? Let's blame the adults. The adults are the scammers, not the kids. But keep an eye on this. That would rock college football. That having private capital in college football. I mean, it's already NFL light.
Right.
You'd walk off the ledge. Or you would say, NFL, just play games on Saturday as well.
Like, okay.
Yep. This is our junior league.
Yeah. Here's another thing you may walk off the ledge. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Are you ready to feel it? Because you're all going to be angry. So, Fox is about to make a major announcement. It'll happen in the next 3 days. I don't know what day exactly. It'll happen in the next 3 days. Fox is all in on Fridays in college athletics. College football, college basketball. They want to own Friday. They have slammed the big nude kickoff at noon Eastern down our throat to make it the premier spot. Now they are going to take over Friday.
I don't like where this is going.
Well, they are going to unveil because they are so excited about this. This is one of the bigger things that Fox has done.
But good on them.
They're going to have a college football schedule on Friday night, and the Big Ten is heavily involved in this. Now,
you're home.
Friday night football is not foreign to us around here. Nebraska has gone and played in some of the more lovely hamlets of the Big Ten on Friday nights. But this is a huge deal to Fox. You're going to see when they roll it out that they will make a big, big, big celebration of Friday night football.
Big Fox?
Big Fox.
Then they're going to be not just going with Rutgers in Illinois.
They have, schools already know what Friday nights they are playing. They are sworn to secrecy. Kirk Ferentz a couple of weeks ago at a Hawkeye Club event mentioned that Iowa is playing a Friday night game. Not Black Friday. Black Friday is exempt in this discussion. Iowa is playing a Black Friday game. He said that publicly. Did not say what game, whether it be home or road. Said it, and he got admonished a little bit because this is Fox's big deal. This is Fox's gigantic, this is our night. It may not be the sexiest games, and it won't be, but it's their big night.
It'll be decent.
That they are going to treat Friday night football somewhat similar to how they treat 11 a.m., but the game does not have the same magnitude. So, with that said, y'all ready? There is so much smoke around this. It has been discussed on this radio station. There is a ton of smoke. I mean, almost that I'm looking at Husker Vision in the north stands at Memorial Stadium that there's going to be smoke come out the top because smoke will be coming out of a lot of people's ears. You cannot run from it anymore.
Yeah.
Nebraska, there is a great possibility Nebraska is going to have a home Friday night football game this year.
And there it is.
So I don't know it for a fact because Nebraska's playing on Friday night. I do know that. They just can't say what, okay? Sworn to secrecy. But there are a lot of the feelings that it's going to be a home game.
Hello, Rutgers.
More the Illinois game.
Mm.
So
another Friday night game.
I mean, Nebraska could have 3 night games in the month of September. It looks like it is centered on that game to kick off the Big Ten season. I don't know that for a fact.
Oh, that's going to be a drunk gong show.
But no,
there's going to be
kids.
No. Before you ever get to that, though, if this happens, I'm not saying it is happened, but there's just way too much smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, folks, if it's not now, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Nebraska's
right.
going to play
It's
a
coming.
Friday night home football game. We just don't know what year, but it's coming. Because you know why? Because Nebraska doesn't have a voice anymore because they haven't been to a bowl game in 7 years. So when they say, we're Nebraska, the TV execs say, stand down. You know what?
Yep.
We run the show. You don't run the show anymore. If you're Ohio State, if you're Michigan, if you're Penn State, and you're winning, we'll listen. But you haven't been to a bowl game in 7 years. We know what you draw in terms of eyeballs.
Yep.
Stand down. Because what you requested, TV runs the world. You like that money you got from us? Shut your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. When this does happen, because it's going to happen, again, maybe this year, maybe next year, but Nebraska's going to play a home Friday night football game.
There's a phone number
because
for you.
television networks, if I'm Fox, it's a no-brainer. You mean to tell me I can get Nebraska in Lincoln on a Friday night? Hell yes, sign me up for every day that ends in Y.
I would watch.
But here's the other part of this discussion when it does happen is how does Nebraska explain it? Because you know that there will be not as many as there used to be. There will be a lot of anger about how it has disrupted your normal schedule from Friday night football to coming to Lincoln.
Yeah.
The people that'll be the most excited will be the kids because they'll cancel school on that Friday.
Right.
And they'll be like, you know what? Let's play every Friday night. How will Nebraska, when this eventually happens, this year, next year, in the future, how will Nebraska spin it of we used to be a staunch stand up and hell no, we won't play on Friday. And now it's, yeah, we're playing on Friday night at home in Lincoln. See you
Yay.
there?
That's when you announce alcohol sales.
There's just way too much like chatter about it. But my curiosity will come from how do you explain it from Nebraska's perspective? Because there's a lot of people that have died on that hill that hell no, we won't do Friday night home football games in Lincoln.
And in Nebraska, at least for a little bit with the Big Ten, was getting that response of, okay, well, will you play one? Because everyone's going to have to play one. Will you play one? Yeah, just not doing it at home because this is sacred ground. This field, this whole atmosphere should be displayed on a Saturday, not on a Friday, unless we're talking about Black Friday, which, as you mentioned, and I would agree, I think everybody would agree, that just doesn't count. It's a holiday weekend. But I would be curious if it's positioned more of this is the exciting new opportunity to display our brand and to display our game day atmosphere in front of a very unique audience that we're going to be the only thing in town. I mean, that would be the positive spin. And you know that's not the reality of it. It's much more of a pain in the ass than anything. But are you trying to be more of the we'll play the game, not the actual football game, but we'll play the game that the Big Ten and Fox is asking us to, and we'll be good soldiers on this, or do you be blunt about it? If
How would you be blunt?
If you're blunt, you say, this is where we are in a program. This is the challenges we have as a program.
You wouldn't say that. I mean, that we can say that on the radio.
Sure.
As the guy that runs the program, that's in this situation with as much of a heated discussion as this will be.
Yeah.
You don't touch the third rail on that. Here's how I think they roll it out. One, let's be honest. I know that there's a disruption. It is. I mean, we're fortunate enough. There are 90,000 people come to football games.
Mhm.
All right. In a town that it has 300,000, but essentially 90,000 people wedge their way into a small part of Lincoln, Nebraska. So there are some logistic challenges.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things to look at this. And there are businesses that will be upset, but you know what? Those TV execs, I'm sorry, I'm going to be harsh here. They don't give a rip about you.
Mm-hmm.
They could care less about how your life is disrupted by Lincoln, Nebraska hosting a Friday night game. They don't care. You know what? Because they're writing a check to your school.
Yep.
They don't care about your disruption. TV networks run the world. That's the reality of it right now. Or the bottom line in college football, especially, money. Money, money, money. You got money. Sometimes you have problems. Sometimes you have, oh, I like it. Okay, so you chase the money. But from Nebraska's standpoint, here is where this door burst wide open for just the possibility. Now, I don't have any firm. I'm not firm enough to say Nebraska's playing X this year on Friday night, but you know it's coming. This year, next year, it's coming. The door burst open for this to even be considered and taken down the road by something that happened in that stadium on a Thursday night last year. Volleyball Day in Nebraska completely changed this idea of we'll never play on Friday night. Now, I have a huge heart for the high school because, I mean, I get the opportunity to do TV on Thursday and Friday night statewide of high school football. So I get that. I've also done a football game on a Friday night when Nebraska's playing on the road. It's kind of awkward.
Yep.
I mean, I'm calling one game and I'm watching the Nebraska game and I'm tweeting. It's wild. Okay. It's
like
maybe the
Kevin
only
Harlan,
thing that I
man
can do
of
that I
many
can
talents.
multitask.
Yeah.
But Volleyball Day in Nebraska, I think opened up the possibilities of, we don't always have to play on Saturday. Because we were able to pull off something that is much larger than a football game. We were able to pull it off on a Thursday by canceling classes. Parking lots were open. We gave our partners in the city of Lincoln and in the state of Nebraska enough time to adjust. I know it was an event, but Nebraska football only gets about 8 events a year. Because of what we did last year on a Thursday, and we were able to pull it off from getting in and out of Lincoln, getting in and out of the stadium, playing on a Thursday.
Even having a concert afterwards.
Or no, a Wednesday. What am I
it was
saying?
Wednesday.
Thursday?
It was Wednesday because Thursday was Nebraska, Minnesota. Yeah.
Because you were able to play on an off day in that stadium where you had 90,000 plus and you were able to pull it off and no one got stuck in Lincoln and they couldn't get out and the parking lots were not jammed. That opened the door to people going, that argument that you said that you couldn't pull it off because of the logistics on a non-Saturday, you guys did a hell of a job with Nebraska Volleyball Day.
So then
I wonder what would happen with a football game on a Friday.
Yeah.
So I think that opened up the door, but the explanation on why the ardent stand over multiple athletic directors all of a sudden changed. Changed because of money.
My biggest question would be,
people are going, and this is going to be, sports talk radio in the state will be great because there are going to be a lot of back and forth. There's going to be some real discussion. There's some people like, this is awful. This is terrible. This is brutal. Why would Nebraska ever do that? What are you thinking about the kids? Okay, now they're going to play on a Thursday, okay? We're not going to be able to play on a Friday. Look at all the revenue we lost. I mean, these are all real discussions.
Sure.
And I know, and Troy Dannon, because he was from the high school world in Iowa, would take this in discussion. So there's also the part of, this is going to happen someday at Nebraska, but when is the Friday that it happens? Better to have it earlier in the high school season than on a Friday night where you would go head-to-head with the playoffs.
Yep. Also very true. The other thing that I'm more curious about when this actually happens is how often after that, because you're not going to make things a significant inconvenience for your fans because you're trying to take care of the fans. And regardless of whether you're playing on a Saturday, a Friday, or the occasional big time event on a Wednesday, you want to make it as seamless as possible. By doing so, does that again, and the return, the eyeballs, and the overall aesthetics of the entire presentation of a home game for Nebraska on a Friday looks good to the networks that they say, hey, we want you to do it again. Is it this is just a question I'm asking. I don't even know if I feel one way or the other about it. I think I know the answer, and I think that is once you start, again, to kind of be able to puff your chest out amongst that group in the Big Ten a little bit, you have more say-so. But at some point, if you pull this off, and again, fans will show up, it might be obviously a lot more inconvenient for so many people involved, but they'll show up. It'll look like a packed stadium. It'll look like a big-time night environment at Memorial Stadium. Will they ask them to do it in the following 2 years again, saying, hey, okay, you did it this year. How about 2026? We want you guys, because like we've been talking about, Nebraska's no stranger to playing on Fridays, but hosting, they pull that off, which I'm convinced they would, that they would say, that was great. Not Nebraska, but the networks and the conference, we want you to do it in another 2 years.
Yeah. So there's two possibilities here. You could, and I'm looking at it from the reaction. Let's say the Illinois game is a Friday night. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool to have 3 night games in the month of September for Nebraska.
Be fun.
Hey, there's
Make the
also,
most of it.
I also want to point out something. There's no guarantee that Nebraska won't play 2 Friday games in a season. Not and exclude Black Friday.
So will or won't?
I think there would be a possibility they could do that.
I got you.
I mean, there's some candidates on the road to be moved to a Friday night.
Yeah, Indiana.
Again, Fox will roll this out. This is a big deal for Fox. I mean, they are going all in on this night. They want to own this night. They feel like they're starting to own Saturday early. They want to own one day where ESPN kind of may have a game, but they don't go all in with their production.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to roll it out maybe tomorrow or Friday, but I know that one of the next 3 days. But if you're looking at this as a possibility that Nebraska could be selected for a home game, and Nebraska already knows. If that's the case, they already know. They've known for a while because you have to start the logistics discussion.
Yeah.
High school football, the NSAA is a good partner, but money talks, and they don't care about your NSAA, and they don't care about your U.S. Bank and your parking lot that you're going to have to send the employees home. I'm sorry. I hate to be harsh. Doing it earlier would be better than later because the 2 candidates would be Illinois or UCLA. UCLA would not make sense to me personally because you'd be coming off Ohio State. UCLA has a bye, I believe, going into that week. So, I mean, if you're looking for advantages, and that would be the opening night of the playoffs for high school football.
Yeah.
And it's already going to disrupt some people. I think that would be, if you're going to disrupt somebody and it's going to be high school football in this state, you would rather do it earlier in the year than right up against playoffs. And especially, the NSA, the gate that they get for the postseason compared, where they don't get the regular season. I'm just looking at it from that. So,
I would think that if you're under you're having that essentially forced down your throat because there's no way Nebraska's saying, hey, we'll step up and we'll do this. But if you're doing that on their terms, that you would at least have the bargaining power to say, okay, well, if that's the case and this is what you want, this is what we would prefer. And that being on the 21st of September as opposed to the 2nd of November. I would hope, and again, maybe this is where I'm not even thinking they don't care to the extent of, no, this is what we want. You guys are going to have to grin and bear it. I would think that they could at least push that through of this would be the game that I guess we'll have to.
Yeah. I mean, it's now inevitable when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But in the new world of the Big Ten, Nebraska will play a home Friday night football game.
Get ready.
And that's basically what you're saying is don't say you weren't warned.
Oh, yeah. Like this has been out there now for about a week.
So look for the positives.
And
there are some.
but
make the most of the day.
I don't know. This is Fox is super excited. I wonder how excited people will be around here.
Like you said,
if when inevitably this happens.
3 night games.
I think there's going to be a staunch against it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as strong as it used to be. Because that $60 million looks pretty good. And you gotta come to the realization, it's all about money now. Okay, money talks.
It's nice.
Tradition, all that stuff, that's gone a long way. All right. We got private equity firms that want to be involved in our game. We just got to get to kickoff, man. College football does the games great. They do the pageantry, but man, they do the offseason crappy. They take an F in the offseason, they take an A during the season. You balance it out, it's a C. Be better.
It is
college football.
C.
All right. Brandon Vogel is going to join us in a little over an hour as we roll through this Wednesday. Again, the weather's going to be great. So 10 a.m., why don't you get done listening to us and go right downtown and walk into the ballpark to see Illinois Penn State.
Oh,
and bring the kids. Why don't you?
With the tractor pull in town and all.
Yeah. The other part, Jason brings up a point. So immediately when this was going to be a thing that Big Ten was going to play on Friday night, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Nebraska were the top 4 that said, hell no. And then they used it as, we got the 4 largest stadiums and we do have some logistics.
Yeah.
And that went a ways for a while. But if Nebraska could play a home Friday night game, aren't you going to say, why can't Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State?
Yeah.
And if the response is, well, they're winning.
Not great optics.
And they're sexier to put on Saturdays. That's another level of discussion that you have to have. But it's coming. If it's this year, next year, the following year, just prepare for it because, we're in the new Big Ten. We're in the new Big Ten. And maybe multiple Friday games on your schedule.
Hey, but look on the bright side. Pumpkin Patch on Saturday if you want to go, and you get Husker football.
I would be curious when this is officially announced. The Nebraska fans that have gotten used to watching again, excluding Black Friday, but watching Nebraska play on the road on Friday and again, enjoying it. So the Illinois game, every year we've seen it, that as you've gotten more used to that part of it, how much pushback are you going to get? You said that you don't think it'll be as much as it was when this was first rolled out.
No, 5 years ago.
Because I remember that conversation as well. I remember everybody talking about that. Like, hell no.
5 years ago, it would have been off the chains of, Bill Moose, you are terrible. I hope you drink the worm. Okay. All right. Now it's still going to be, there's still going to be some pushback. I'm not downplaying that.
Right.
But I think it's going to be more of, okay, this is the reality of where we are nowadays.
That's kind of where I'm seeing it a little bit more on that side of it, of where people might be, where there'll be the initial, what? Okay, we're going to host one of these, to, all right, I guess that's the reality.
Yep. All right, Brandon Vogel's coming up a little bit later on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
The bottom line is, for 6 months of YouTube TV, 5 of Prime Video, 1 month each of Peacock, ESPN Plus, and Netflix, comes to a grand total of $506.86. And then if you want to add the Sunday ticket, you're looking at $855 if you want access to every single NFL game played this season.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mainly dry on Wednesday with cloud cover early on, giving way to mostly sunny skies. Mild, comfortable afternoon with highs in the mid-70s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. Traffic picking up Dodge eastbound around 180th to 156th, that usual morning traffic. I-80 eastbound slowing down right now between I-680 and 84th, and JFK northbound slower right now between Childs and I-80. Just a reminder, Center Street between 64th and 67th closed both directions starting today for the next few weeks for water main repair. Stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
I have never seen this before. Hi, John with Saul's Jewelry and Loan. The price of gold is the highest it's ever been. Now is the time to get the best price on your broken jewelry, chains, and diamond jewelry. Saul's has been around a while, and trust us, now's the time. Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Hi, this is John Bishop. Since the day I got my driver's license, I've had a check next to the organ and tissue donor box. It's a selfless gift because healthy organ donors can save up to 8 lives. And with tissue donation, dozens more can get the gift of sight, and burn victims can get life-changing skin grafts. Anybody can register, and there's no cost to you or your family. Check that organ donor box next time you renew your license, or visit goodguysavelives.com. Learn more about organ and tissue donation today and see how you can save 8 lives at goodguysavelives.com.
Success in today's electrical market requires your company to be able to adjust to an ever-changing field. A partnership with IBEW Local 22 gives you that flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, proven training programs, marketing assistance, entry into markets not available before, ability to expand and contract with changing market conditions, and a benefits package for you and your employees. Contact Bob at IBEW Local 22 for additional details at 402-980-7596.
Let's go on a fishing trip you will be talking about for years. The best walleye fishing trip ever. Join me, Crash Davis. We're going to travel to the walleye capital of the world, September 15th through the 19th aboard a deluxe motor coach. Travel with me to Ballard's Resort on Lake of the Woods. Pricing includes round-trip motor coach transportation, 4 nights lodging, 3 days of fully guided walleye fishing, and all of our meals. Go fishing with me, Crash. Your best trip ever. Sign up at ballardsresort.com. ballardsresort.com. And set the hook.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
Break away from your boring coffee routine and stop by Astori's Coffee Company. Handcrafted, locally roasted premium coffee is served with a smile at one of our 5 Stories Omaha locations. Stop in or drive through and support local at Story's Coffee Company.
I feel like I'm constantly cleaning hair off my bathroom floor. At least my Swiffer Sweeper makes it easy. Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths have ultra-thick pads to trap and lock hairs, like a hair magnet. And when I'm finished cleaning up my hair, Sweeper takes care of his too. Now the hair's gone, all thanks to Swiffer. Try Swiffer Sweeper heavy-duty dry cloths. I promise you'll love them or your money back. And also try Swiffer Sweeper Wet to make quick work of tough, sticky messes.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, when you win the Indy 500, first you have to declare what milk you're going to drink. So they
Sorry, what?
You have to declare what milk you're going to drink. I'm not a milk drinker.
Thank you.
Milk?
Yep, you got it.
Disgusting.
I don't know why
you do it.
Okay, so I don't know why that's a word that
get an E in there somehow.
Yeah, there's a couple like the state of Illinois milk. There are some that I probably I don't know. I've just always there are some words. So, Dad, New York City guy, there are some words that I have all of a sudden will have an Eastern accent, like hot dogs, basketball.
Do you get into another, by the way, a topic of conversation in a blowout baseball game last night was the difference between tournament and tournament, East Coast tournament.
Oh, yeah. Tournament.
You can always tell it's East Coast.
Yeah.
But that's a real thing, too.
But the Indy 500 drivers, before the race, they tell you what milk they would like to consume. Now I'm told that it's kept on ice.
I'd hope so.
It's all
That'd be
piss.
rough.
But yeah, I mean it's warm out, man. You just get out of
Yeah.
a car and you got to pour that over your head.
Yeah. that'd be rough.
Again, I used to be I used to drink milk. I have very rarely ever had just a glass of milk. It has to be in something. That's how I am.
But what? Because you are a dry cereal guy.
Well, I don't I used to be. I have not purchased milk in ages. Okay. And if I do, it certainly isn't white.
Chocolate milk.
I love the chocolate
It's
and the
good protein.
strawberry. But I was looking at the list here. So 26 drivers went with whole milk.
Oh, that's bold.
5 went with 2%.
Mm.
Now that was what, man, at school when you were, you go to the Catholic grade school and you get milk for, you only had chocolate milk on Friday because that was a big day because you got the pizza that fit into the square of the plate.
Yeah.
And you got the chocolate milk.
Fish and chocolate milk.
But the 2% and those little cartons and you just bam, bam, bam.
Oh, yeah.
So then there are 2 that have chosen skim.
Oh, congratulations on those stomach issues.
All 3 options are put on ice. Are you not allowed? I would think as a driver, how cool would that be to win and drink and pour chocolate milk over yourself? Or even now, because this is the one where my eyes go to when I walk by. I quickly walk by the milk, part of the grocery store is strawberry. Like, would you be frowned upon as an Indy 500 driver if your choice was strawberry
Does
milk?
strawberry milk represent? I don't think it does, but I'm just putting it out there for the public, and especially for the more rabid NASCAR fan. Does that represent? Might be a little soft. Needs flavored milk. Why does my driver need flavored milk?
I would think it'd be cool.
Yeah, see, I think you go with what for me it would be. That's a celebration. I'm going with what tastes the best. I would go with chocolate milk.
The course banquet.
But if you decided to go with strawberry milk, I don't know. Maybe that has a little bit of a soft narrative to it. Of really, how old are you? You're drinking strawberry milk. Because I think right now, we're in a world where adults aren't maybe frowned upon as much as maybe you were a while back when it came to drinking chocolate milk. I think as an adult, as long as you sell it as, hey, it's a good protein supplement there.
Trying to put an end to milk shaming.
Fairlife has changed everything.
I'm just telling you.
Bougie chocolate milk.
Can you actually get in like oat milk? Can you get like almond milk on there?
Screw that. Go to Starbucks, stand in line and confuse a barista. You're going to drink oat milk for winning the Indy 500.
I need oat milk for mine. I think the whole milk, that's bold because that's going to be pretty heavy. And especially if I guess you're probably hungry though after a race.
I like chocolate.
Fill it up.
I'm not afraid to admit it. I like myself some chocolate.
Chocolate milk's great.
Can you read Fred's tweet?
Oh, if you're asking me to read it. Let's see.
Read and describe, please, in this discussion.
Well, he just says this. This is fine. The milk I like is straight from the tap, baby. The picture I don't have to describe. But
you ever milked a cow, Nick?
Actually, I have. Yes.
The cow's name
like
is
on your
Norman.
own, or like as a celebrity event.
Both. One was for
Your previous job.
Yeah, one was for a thing we were doing
Not
with
that
Highland Dairy.
Oh,
Okay.
And
Good-
then
good folks, by the way.
Yes. And then
I meant the strip club. Sorry.
so I've been to Ainsworth before Carter Nelson was a thing.
To milk a cow? You drove all the way out there?
No, we did this. It was like an exchange student thing. I lived with a family in Ainsworth, and this kid lived with my family.
Was
This
this
was
like
something in
the
high school.
low-
I'm sorry, not in high school, but in elementary school.
So was
Oh.
the kid from Ainsworth,
Yeah.
and he moved to Omaha to live in the big city?
Mhm.
So yes, they would. I think we did a week. I think it was like a week. It felt like a week anyway. Maybe it was only 3 days, but we had to go
Maybe
to
it was
school
just an
there.
afternoon.
And so he was my buddy in Ainsworth. And then when he came to Omaha, I was his buddy. So it wasn't like I was gone while he was gone.
This kind of ruined the story because I was hoping like this would
But
be
I
a precursor to About Schmidt, and your friend was
Yeah. Here in Dugu.
In Dugu, yeah, no. In Ainsworth.
Your foster mother is dead.
I had like a little pen pal in Ainsworth. No, so he lived on a farm. And so they asked if I wanted to.
Probably some lonely women in Omaha that also have a pen pal in Ainsworth.
And they asked if I wanted to help milk the cow. And I said, sure. And it was extremely different than what I thought it would be.
Did they give you instructions or did you just go all in?
Oh, they gave me instructions.
Just
'cause I had no idea where to even begin.
That's good because other times when you milk the cow, they don't give you instructions. You just you get right in, you start milking.
Yep, and nothing's happening.
You start rubbing the udders and things start coming out.
Have to get. I remember really high up there and then squeeze it down.
Yeah.
And the cow needs a cigarette.
I've milked a cow once.
We don't have a cow. We have a bull.
You got to be firm when you're milking. Okay, you got to.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
You got to give it a good grip.
You got to
And
pinch.
and straight up and down. You can't have any little weird angles.
Yeah.
It has to be straight, vertical, up and down. Yep, I remember that part. This can
Talking
go
about
so many
milking?
different ways. Yeah, I know. Why? You
just trying to keep up.
just brought up Fred. I can only imagine what Fred's thinking right now too.
Probably same thing I'm
I think
thinking.
he's really enjoying this conversation. So yes, I have milked a cow. Long story short, one time in Ainsworth.
We should get a cow here and have you do it on the show.
They do have, I think, at some of the dairy farms.
Isn't that kind of mean to the cow?
Well, they do have. They have the fake.
We're going to have strangers touch you. Why don't you come to a radio show? It'll be a bit.
Can't you go to some of the state fairs where they actually have
pay 'em
a
well.
fake? They have
what
they
Chick-fil-A will be beating down the door.
Bring sandwiches.
Peter will show up. He'll just show up.
Bring
with a
chicken
sign.
biscuits just to piss off
But
Nick.
they have a fake udder that you can
practice.
You can simulate. Yeah, you could.
Like
yeah,
the first
yeah,
date?
you can simulate milking a cow.
Yeah, they did that in 5th grade at St. Pius X. Where do you get a fake udder?
Oh, Amazon's got everything.
Spencer's, if I remember correctly.
And you mean the back room at Spencer's?
Oh no, I meant the front.
Well, the back room is where it was.
Oh,
There's where other stuff was.
Place right there in Benson.
Yeah.
Oh, they even have a ride.
They do. They have a swing.
How about that Bobby Witt Jr.?
Hey, 2 home runs.
He's milking the competition.
I said it earlier. Why is there should be more advertisement from Kansas City tourism on this radio station, because Bobby Witt Jr., who went Dongtown last night for 468, and that's a long. I don't know how long you are, but 468
That's
feet.
a big dong.
That is woo. That's
Yeah.
way out there. He had
Yeah.
2 home runs last night. Had 6 RBIs. Him and Garcia were having a night, and they blew out the Tigers early. Tigers starting pitching. Scooble, they need him to pitch well today. They've jumped on the starting pitching of the Tigers the first 2 nights. I don't even think the 2 starters have combined for 5 innings. Man, they're fun to watch. I got to believe that there are people that used to, up until, post World Series run, used to always, I'd go down to the Cave for a weekend.
Mhm.
I mean, I did that when I was a little kid and my family go down there living in Des Moines. Bobby Witt Jr. is one of those guys that'll get you. If you are not watching him, you're missing out. He is must watch. And it must suck for the world that Kansas City might have 2 of the best athletes at their sport. They got the dad bod in Mahomes, and then they got Bobby Witt Jr., who's got the mullet. I mean, nothing says Kansas City like your star quarterback with 3 Super Bowl rings as a dad bod, who got shamed yesterday walking into the facility. I don't know. He's got 3 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, you can look however you want
Yeah,
to.
he can have a bigger boiler as long as he's performing in the fall. And then you got Bobby Witt Jr., who he's got the mullet. That is
That's Kansas City.
That is relatable
Yeah,
in Kansas City.
Yeah,
All you need is Billy
Oh.
Butler to do the Ford.
Yeah, that's.
And Salvi is hitting 345.
Mhm.
Man, I might open up a stand on 29 for all the people from Omaha. They're going to be going to Kansas City to watch the Royals.
Taylor Swift dating the wrong dude.
Well, we already are mapping.
Ooh, I don't
think it's
you
going
know
to be at
what?
the end of June.
I think there would be pushback. Like Kelsey's looks really good for Taylor Swift. I think if she was dating Bobby Witt Jr., it would not go over well with the Swifties.
You don't think so?
Because he's kind of a bad boy. I don't know. He doesn't. He's not as clean cut. Like Bobby just lets it go.
Sounds like an album.
I mean, yeah, Kelsey's it's high and tight, but I mean, he's got a little bad boy in him as well. He's aggressive.
Doesn't she also have to date guys that are taller than her? Isn't that
Yeah.
one of her stipulations?
Yeah, and she's what, 5'11"?
Yeah. So her and
6'4"
Bobby
with the
Witt
afro.
Jr. would be like same height.
Yeah.
He's a little bit taller.
Maybe there's more pushback on that at their eye level as opposed to
Let's be honest.
his look.
He's a baseball guy.
Yeah, which is
I mean,
great.
there's only, Kate Upton and Livy Dunn.
Yeah. The Bobby Wood Jr. look, though, I would say if somehow that those roles were reversed where Taylor Swift was dating him, then that would become the cool look again. Because you remember, you've seen this. The mullet, although I think it's phasing out a little bit now amongst the high school kids, that was thriving for like the last 3 years.
Oh, no,
with the
no,
blades.
no. What are you talking about?
I don't know
that
what
mullet?
schools you're looking at.
Oh, my gosh. You need...
I'm not saying it looks good, but it
Kansas
was
City, they all
but it
have
was popular.
You live in that gated community in Bennington, man. You need to drop over at Westview.
They still got the mullets?
mullet. You don't think? Hold on here.
I don't think they look good, but they were thriving. Those people were getting
The mullet
those.
is about to explode in Nebraska.
Oh, so we're just the tip of the iceberg on this thing?
You don't think the guy that's going to be the quarterback in the fall? You don't think there'll be kids that want his haircut?
I don't call that a mullet, though.
I
That
call
to
it a
me,
mullet.
that to
That's
me
a
is
new
not
mullet.
a mullet. It's kind of like a mohawk mullet.
I mean, I
thing.
see what you're
don't-
getting at.
It's a
You're thinking
Mahomes
Billy
mullet.
Ray Cyrus. Yes, there you go.
There's going to be
A mullet?
there are going to be kids that want that haircut.
Oh, there already. There is
A
a kid.
mullet?
There's a kid in my neighborhood that has the mullet.
I mean,
Trademark.
there are
Yeah, the
people
mullet.
that have not tried to have a kid that have already named him Dylan.
Yeah.
And you know what?
With a Y.
Even if it's a girl, it's going to be Dillon. Oh, that haircut.
Oh, that's
That-
popular, but I
yeah.
don't consider that the mullet. Like I'm talking about
The mullet has changed. The mullet can change. The mullet doesn't always have to be the mullet. Look at Gundy.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Look at
just
Bob Golick.
it's got variations, but now see that's the OG mullet. But you were seeing a lot of kids, even the blonde hair, almost Boz-like mullet, where it's shaved, and then they were really taking care of the back. The more traditional mullet, and then they'd have the blades
evolves.
on.
Yeah, you can't like put the mullet
You don't
into a
pigeonhole
box.
the mullet.
Yeah, the
Not
mullet,
everyone can be Yami
The
or
mullet
Yager.
grows. The mullet grows with the head, and also the
Yeah,
fashion.
but
But the
I-
mullet always has one particular thing that carries through from Bosworth to Mahomes.
Business around party in the back.
It's a terrible haircut.
No,
that's
it's
what
awful.
that's what carries through.
Yeah, it is an awful haircut.
And I'm saying there's a guy that could never grow one, and never would want one. I just say it's a terrible haircut.
Yeah, I still don't consider that a mullet. Maybe I'm too fixated on the old school mullet.
Yeah, you need to get out of that. I mean,
Yeah.
you need to be like you need. You know what? The Nebraska football fan has evolved. They stopped living in the 90s. You need to get out of the 90s.
It's true.
The 90s mullet and just
Yes.
adapt to the mullet.
Not everyone is Harlan Flat Top Myers.
Well, he just had a good flat top. I mean, that was a Howie Long flat top.
It's true.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to mess with Howie Long.
I don't think that it's the Mahomes one.
Skechers
Maybe it's
coming
because I've seen that a lot more as of late. The Mahomes one doesn't bother me as much as I was seeing kids do the original mullet, and they were really wearing it with pride. That's
have to if you
especially
do
not a
that.
good look. That's a really bad look.
Ed says, you guys want to go see mullets? Go to Columbia.
That's true.
I hope he's not talking about the school.
Oh.
I like that. I like that.
Somehow I don't think he is.
I like that.
Nerds
I like
and
that grade school. Okay.
Oh, the grade school.
Alan says Mahomes is more of a mohawk.
Yeah, see, that's kind of what I think too.
So is it a frohawk?
Yeah.
Evan
I'd say
Longoria, when he was playing
frohawk.
for the Rays, had a haircut like that.
Why don't we call it a mohawk?
Mohawk's the dude in Major League that's standing at the bar next to the guy and they're hugging.
Oh yeah, great hair.
Yeah.
A mohawk. Can we call it a mohawk? It's a hybrid.
Well, whatever it is, it'll be a popular haircut.
They're all going to have it here. All the kids.
Josh says I blame Hosmer for the mullets.
Oh yeah, he kind of had that little strand hanging down there. See, his was almost kind of rat tailing it. It'd be like a modern rat tail. Did you guys ever do a rat tail?
No.
I saw a rat tail recently, and I felt for the kid.
Yeah, the parents should know better. How old do you think the kid was?
30.
No,
parents
the kid was probably 8, but here was the
Parents
scenario.
should know better. That's a parent thing.
Here was the scenario. A person, and I was not aware of the group of this family, but I was at Costco, and
not Sam's Club.
This person, I sneezed. Okay.
Yeah.
The whole family said, "God bless you."
Oh, I take back what I said about the parents then. Well, that's very nice
I was
of
like,
them.
no, I was just caught off guard.
Yet you let your kid have a rat
like
tail?
The whole family
And then they
said,
tried
"God bless you."
Did they all turn around at the same time and look at you in unison? God bless
offered
you.
to join
Well,
in
they were
prayer.
like where we were like,
You guys were like side to side, so they didn't
Yeah.
have to completely
Yeah.
turn around.
but the whole
That's
family.
impressive.
Yeah.
Kind of jarring. Kind of jarring, but impressive.
You leave feeling terrible about yourself.
Yeah.
I do feel good because that's like, courtesy. We don't do enough. You hear people
Sure.
sneeze,
Right.
or it's a race to see who can get in the God bless you.
Or someone who watches Seinfeld says, "You're so good looking." That one too.
The whole family did. And so then I was curious because then I was like, oh, Colt? I saw the kid and he had a rat tail.
Because they said God bless you together. It's a cult.
No,
why can't they just be friendly people with good manners?
I don't know, man.
But see, the dead giveaway to me would be if the kid's got a rat tail, yet they're doing that. That would be a little bit suspect.
But he looked like he was like probably the middle child. He looked like the one that was like causing.
Yeah.
Everybody else had normal haircuts.
Yeah.
But I'm just
keep your Jim Jones
like
propaganda
I hadn't brought
to
that
yourself.
up. I hadn't thought about this for a while, but it happened a couple of trips back to Costco. Yeah, the whole family said, "God bless you."
We love you.
That would be
like what should I said? What is my walk off? F you.
I go after,
and then
I go after yourself.
And then all of a sudden I'm handed a Gideon Bible in Costco. Does this cost me anything?
Do they?
And where can I get more?
Hey, they're peddling a lot of stuff at Costco these days, so that wouldn't shock me.
The Gideons?
Anything.
No, the
Cell
Gideons
phone
are,
plans.
The Gideons are not at Costco. What are you doing?
They're at the Drake Hotel in Chicago.
What are you saying?
No, I'm
Like
not
they're
saying
hiding out by the toilet paper aisle.
Saying it wouldn't shock me
Back
because
there by the cold stuff.
you go around a lot of different aisles now. All of a sudden, people are popping out telling you if you want to change your cell phone plan. So why not the Gideons?
Yeah, I
They
think
could
that's
have a place at the Costco.
I don't know. I think of my cell phone and my Bible different. I would choose this. I would choose the cell phone over the Bible, but that's me, and I'm probably going to HE double hockey sticks.
This reminds me of airplane when he walks
What if
in
you're
the
looking
airport.
at Bible verses on your cell phone, though?
There's an app for that.
I'm sure there is, Jimmy.
I'm going to be
Sure there's
totally
many apps for that.
honest with you. If I'm doing that, I'm watching Jeopardy.
It's fair. Trying to answer the question there.
Brandon Vogel's coming up in less than an hour. And 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your radio home for Omaha Storm Chasers baseball, proud AAA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals. Tune in to hear every pitch, every hit, and every out as the Chasers play at Warner Park and across the International League in 2024. With the voice of the Omaha Storm Chasers, Nick Batters, on News Talk 1290 Coil.
The Storm Chasers are home at Warner Park tonight to take on Columbus. First pitch is scheduled at 6:35. You can hear all the action on your home for Storm Chasers baseball, 1290 Coil.
It's golf season, and that means it's time to start betting like a pro with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circa Sports Iowa. It's sports betting the way it should be. The odds makers with the lowest holds and the best odds for every tournament. Plus, high betting limits, exceptional customer service, and more. Fund and bet like a pro anywhere, anytime. It's never been easier. Get ready for all the biggest golf tournaments with Circa Sports Iowa. Visit circasports.com today. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-238-7633.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Would you just give your house key to criminals? Having your personal information on the internet is like giving a thief the key to your home. They can take everything that's valuable to you anytime. But JoinDeleteMe.com can help you protect yourself. Online data brokers compile information about you and sell it to people who could ruin your life. But JoinDeleteMe.com scours the web, removes the personal information you don't want seen, and prevents data brokers, scammers, identity thieves, even political enemies from getting personal information that could hurt you, your family, or your reputation. You'll get regular reports detailing what they find and remove. And JoinDeleteMe.com isn't AI. It's real people working to keep your data safe. Keep your private life private with JoinDeleteMe.com. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/deal and use promo code DEAL at checkout. Go to joindeleteme.com/deal and enter code DEAL at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/deal, code DEAL.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Dan the Corn Man, which is a fantastic name on the stream, says, how loud was the sneeze? I don't think it was overly loud. It wasn't aggressive, like, pull out your shoulder sneeze.
Yeah, because there's some people that you'll hear it on the other side of Costco.
Yeah. I covered my mouth. It just happened they were across from me in the aisle. So they were within close enough that they could hear, and they all responded in unison. God bless you.
Did they say afterwards, have a blessed day?
No, we just kept it moving because I was like, okay, do I want to profile this family, or do I want to keep it moving? Because I'm looking at the self-checkout line starting to back up.
And they're
so I
setting up to have a
chose
conversation.
convenience, and I went to the self-checkout line.
If people are wondering where this conversation originated from, I was just asking Gary or Jimmy if they've ever had a rat tail. And then it went into this because the kid amongst this family that all said Gesundheit or God bless you, had a rat tail. And he's about 8.
You're very much old school. Gesundheit is old school.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it means.
Maybe not religious.
Bless you.
Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you don't want to be part of the council culture. You don't want people lashing out about you about your religion.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I said, when they said God bless you, I was like, ooh, are they Republican or Democrat? Hey, so one of the things.
What do they think about Friday Night Football in Lincoln?
Not God bless you. They're like, man, we're
God bless the state on Friday nights for high school football.
That could be one night we're gonna have to have electricity.
Why did I sound like that?
So did you see? So I love pettiness. I don't like to be involved in pettiness, but I like to watch from afar. That's like, that meme that is out there of there's a community that's burning down and there's a kid on a swing set.
Yeah.
That would be me.
You wouldn't be looking and just.
I know you now long enough to agree.
Yeah.
So the story that came out yesterday about the Florida Gators, who lost a top quarterback prospect in 23 and Jaden Rashada just a month after signing him, after one of his NIL collectives allegedly reneged on a $13.85 million NIL contract. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a chunk.
So he has filed a lawsuit against Billy Napier, a prominent Gator booster, Hugh Hathcock, and former
writes itself
UF director of NIL, Marcus Castro Walker. The complaint filed in the Northern District of Florida, U.S. District Court, alleges that the 3 defendants not only committed fraud, but conspired to do so. He is the backup at Georgia. Before Jaden went through with this, he got the blessing from Kirby Smart. That is the SEC in a nutshell.
Yep.
There was a
go ahead and sue. Yeah.
A blessing.
I've heard the story from people that were on Urban Meyer's staff at Florida that they were turning in and people were turning in their program almost daily at the SEC. Like, just, you guys are cheating. They call up the SEC office. And then an hour later, somebody from South Carolina calls up to complains. I mean, that's what the SEC is.
And that's what the old Southwest Conference was too.
But you get rivalries and you get hate and the fans are going at each other. But I want to go back to a name I just mentioned. Marcus Castro Walker.
Is that the Miami booster?
No. That is the get back guy that used to be on
that was Scott Frost.
That's
right.
sidelines.
Yes. That's right. The guy that everybody wanted to know, who is this guy?
Yeah, he wore shades.
Yeah, wore the
he was
shades.
technically the director of player development.
I don't think he ever said anything or ever looked like he was ever saying anything.
But before he came to Nebraska, he was on Herm Edwards' staff at Arizona State. And remember what happened during the COVID shutdown at ASU.
Everything was on the level there.
Then he comes to Nebraska. No one was really sure what he did. And then he's hired to be the director of NIL at Florida. And he is former. And this happens. I can't wait for the depositions if this gets this far.
Yeah.
It will be off the chains. We need to tighten up the NIL. We need to have contracts. And if this sets a precedent, watch out.
How many athletes will feel empowered to do so?
But I don't know, if it's a verbal contract, what you can do. In this case, they did something before, it was allowed. I don't know how this would all work. I don't know enough about the legal system. But if this moves forward, there are going to be some people coming out of the weeds, and there's going to be some coaches and some collectives that are going to be running for the hills. I don't know that it gets this far. I don't know if there's enough juice in this case, but are we surprised it took this long for somebody to have this kind of a lawsuit?
I am. Yeah.
And are we surprised that it's taken this long that Billy Napier has been able to keep his job at Florida?
Well, that's a good question for our
Tune
guest
in
tomorrow.
at 9:45 tomorrow.
and one Brian Edwards,
who's already got a hot board.
Because this is that other area of NIL where if the young man who is going to put himself in a position to earn off of his name, image, likeness, there's a lot of we'll call them the buyer beware of, hey, I'm getting the money. There's the thing that I really appreciated a lot of schools doing is making sure that once all these student athletes were getting involved is that they had someone to explain the taxes to them. Because I don't know how you guys were when you were 18 or 19 years old and you got a pretty nice independent contracting check, or you got that first student loan check, and you're like, all right, spend it, or all right, I'm going to go ahead and worry about something where I don't have to take taxes out.
Hold on. You got an actual check for your student loans?
Heck yeah.
When you had leftover, yeah.
Yeah.
And we usually went and got a keg.
Yeah, or a PlayStation.
Or both.
Oh, yeah.
Did it come directly to you?
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah. You had to go to the bursar's office. And they would give it to you there, at least for me.
Mine was sent to my residence.
Somebody owes me some money, or my parents scammed me.
Oh, I bet you they did the right thing, though. Yeah. They probably took that money and maybe put in a savings that maybe later in life.
12-year-old kid never said my parents did the right thing for me.
Well, I'm just saying, if you didn't get the money, I'd like to think that maybe they were putting it aside. So when you actually have to pay on those loans, then you had a little extra cheddar.
Yeah, I thought it was wrong till I had friends said, no, it's loan day. You should celebrate.
Yep.
Celebrate.
I had, and there's my Neanderthal friends.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That were enablers, encourage me.
Let's go rent a camel.
I'm spending mine. You should be spending yours. Okay. I'll worry about paying that back later. But having the education of what taxes go into it, is this going to be one of those examples that I'm sure do exist? This is why I say this won't be the first, or I'm sorry, this won't be the last, is that you have the whole buyer beware of you were not educated. Something should have been put down in writing on all of this, that if it did ever come to one side of the table not being able to fulfill that agreement, that you had the documentation. Because, I mean, think about it. If that person doesn't have either a parent or a guardian or someone who knows what's going on, and you said, yeah, sounds good, let's do that. Handshake, all right, consider it done, and then it doesn't happen to what was agreed upon, what can you really do?
This is what makes the SEC so great. Kirby Smart
you
said,
have a coach that can tell you,
Kirby
you should
Smart
go
said,
sue them is what you should do.
Absolutely.
Yep. You know what you should do, man? I'll tell you what you should do. You should sue them.
Florida-Georgia game, is already on another level. This just takes it. God, that's why. I
Or Kirby's like, if it was me, I'd sue him. But hey, I'm not you.
I think
I'm not you.
I think like the SEC has coach on coach crime.
Yep.
We don't have as much of that in the Big Ten. Now, Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah.
But when Bo was in the league,
Yeah.
we have more fan on fan.
Yeah.
We need to have more coach on coach. That would help us. I mean, we're already making more money than y'all down there in the South.
And
you say it means more. Well, I mean, we're making more.
I'm thinking of the new coaches coming into. Lincoln Riley likes to go after his own media more than anything, but he doesn't really. He doesn't really get into coaches.
Dan Lanning will be a pot stirrer.
Yeah.
And
He'd be the
win,
most likely.
He'll win, and we'll hate him, and then we'll be like, "Oh, you're like nice."
Why do I think for some reason Dan Lanning and as long as PJ Fleck is at Minnesota are going to have some type of spat? That just seems like that might be the one where he takes either a swipe at the row the boat thing, and then PJ doesn't always keep things bottled up either, and all of a sudden we've got those two.
I don't know if you know this, Nick, if
head-to-head.
you follow recruiting heavily, but it seems like it doesn't have to be Dan Lanning. Everybody, Wisconsin, Nebraska, are taking swipes at Minnesota's current recruiting class. When you have the top recruit for Minnesota in 25 is taking visits to Madison and Lincoln.
Yeah.
I think that's the swipe.
Yeah, there's a swipe there too.
All right. When we come back, should we print the banner Nebraskans for Penn State?
Ew.
Not
We're talking about the baseball game today.
Nebraskans for Penn State. Do we need to be cheering for Penn State? It could be today.
Think I know
it
what
could
you're
be in
getting
the
at.
fall.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. And yes.
And no,
but
it's
we can
not
explain
that.
more.
It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. Crash with injuries reported at the intersection of 60th and Grant. Expect temporary delays here. Just as a reminder, Center closing today between 64th and 67th, both directions for the next few weeks. And the Big Ten Baseball Tournament continuing today, first game at 10 a.m. at Charles Schwab Field. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by IBEW Local 22.
The electrical market requires your company to adjust to an ever-changing field. IBEW Local 22 gives you flexibility with access to journeymen, apprentices, and proven training programs. Call Bob at IBEW Local 22 for details at 402-980-7596.
Let's go on a fishing trip you will be talking about for years. The best walleye fishing trip ever. Join me, Crash Davis. We're going to travel to the walleye capital of the world, September 15th through the 19th aboard a deluxe motor coach. Travel with me to Ballard's Resort on Lake of the Woods. Pricing includes round-trip motor coach transportation, 4 nights lodging, 3 days of fully guided walleye fishing, and all of our meals. Go fishing with me, Crash. Your best trip ever. Sign up at ballardsresort.com. ballardsresort.com. And set the hook.
I'm Ryan Osted. Golf is great because it can be whatever you want it to be. If you want to go out and have a competitive 18 holes, you can make it that. If you want to go out and have a scramble and just have the time of your life, if you want to have a charity golf tournament to raise money for some great cause, you can make it that. It is flexible to be whatever you need it to be at that particular moment in your life. And I've needed golf to be different things at different points in my life. And I'm certainly thankful that I was able to learn the game as a kid and continue to play it now as an adult.
Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's deal is to McSitley Restaurant in downtown Omaha at 16th and Harney. Get $50 in gift certificates for only $25. McSitley Restaurant offers authentic Mexican cuisine with the traditional flavors in your favorite Mexican dishes with an innovative touch. McSitley Restaurant in downtown Omaha. This week's half-off deal.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to speak? Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 10 minutes a day.
10 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. Fun isn't hard. Right. Babbel's interactive lessons, podcasts, games, and more make languages fun and engaging. You might even forget you're learning. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life. Babbel teaches language skills you'll actually use. About travel, business, relationships, and more. You'll learn what matters most to you. Plus, Babbel's lessons are designed to get you having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Just 3 weeks? Even better.
Since Babbel's lessons are voiced by real native speakers, you'll get pronunciation just right and be able to carry on conversations with confidence.
Learning a language with Babbel doesn't take long.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Get Babbel. It starts here. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Your floors can go from clean to dirty fast. From juice spills, whoops, to muddy paw prints, to little sticky finger marks. Good thing your Swiffer WetJet works fast too. Swiffer WetJet easily cleans everyday messes as quick as they happen. The next mess is right around the corner. So grab your Swiffer WetJet and just spray, push, all clean.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back up mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, Bellevue West Joey chimes in on the student loan checks. He said, yeah, man, it was called a refund check at my school. Got it right when my loan cleared the admissions office. When it came, I went right to the liquor store.
Yeah. All you degenerates going to the liquor store. Why don't you get like a gaming device?
Hey, they have a business to run too.
I didn't have a fake ID at the time, so I couldn't. Not that I ever had one. But yeah, I never spent that on alcohol.
I'm very disturbed now that possibly my parents ran a scam on me and they took my student loan refund check, or they had a deal with the admissions office that said, do not give this to our son, send it directly to us.
And maybe they got by doing so, they got a little cut out of that.
How long do you think if I had this conversation with my dad right now, this would last? Like, do you think I could get this conversation in and out in like 3 minutes? Or do you think this would be like a 20-minute discussion?
Well, if it's a 20-minute discussion, then I would think that there's some explaining to do. If it's a 3-minute discussion, then I think that you're SOL. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to now all of a sudden throw a wedge in your relationship.
I know this will not be a text conversation because that would be.
I'm just remembering the part.
Wait, are you going to initiate the text and he'll call you, or would this have to be just straight up? I'm not even texting. I'm calling.
I don't know. You know what?
I mean, we're talking about a potential couple $1,000 here.
But I try and, man, my dad calls and he goes, hey, Gary, it's Dad. Yeah, I know.
All right.
Okay.
Guess who I ran
I'm
into
not being mean. I'm like, okay, when it comes up on my phone, I know, hey, Gary, it's, or he leaves a message. Hey, Gary, it's your dad.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know. All right. Okay. I know.
I'm good.
I know. You know what? You're in my phone, I said. I go, you know what? I've heard your voice for.
That's why I love parents.
50 years.
Does he sign his text?
See, my mom used to say after every
No.
text, love mom. And then all of us guys gave her crap for it. So she doesn't do that anymore.
And she now writes love dad.
Yeah, my dad's my dad's become a good texter. Thank God.
That's good.
Yeah, because that's sometimes the only way I want to talk to him, because I don't got 25 minutes to talk about nonsense. Okay, just get to it.
Not even baseball.
Okay. All right. I don't need to hear about what you did for the last week. All right. Just give me the bullet points. I know I'm a terrible son, but
Just give me the cliff
if you
notes.
think I'm a terrible son, I'll put you on a phone call with my dad, and it will meander for a while. I know.
And then you'll just get it. Then you'll understand.
Yeah. I think he likes it when I speed him up.
Oh, okay. So
I'm like, hey, Dad, I got, you know what? Water main broke outside my house.
Yeah.
I might have to go look at it. Oh, hey, let me just tell you one more thing.
So he gets in his 2-minute offense then?
Colorado game's 107 days away. Oh.
Nebraskans for Penn State. We should all be rooting for James Franklin to have a good year. And we should all be wondering, how is Penn State going to do a $700 million renovation of their stadium, which, if you've been there, is a dump.
It is a dump.
It is an
amazed it's still
absolute
upright.
erector set dump.
Yep.
There is nothing pleasing other than how large it is at Penn State. But you know why people don't complain about it? Because they win.
Mm-hmm.
But it is outdated. There is nothing, and I've been to that stadium a couple of times. There is nothing appealing about Beaver Stadium.
It's an erector.
I'll give them credit for one thing.
It's like
it's
like Rosenblatt.
Yes, it is.
It's an old stadium.
You see the beams that are holding it up.
They transported it from on trains from one side of campus to the other back in the 1900s, and they just keep adding to it. It is the Rosenblatt erector set. There's nothing other than when it's white. Everybody's wearing white and it's full. it is a dump. I'm surprised it's taken this long for them to come up with a plan to modernize it.
They do
$700
have
million.
The last time I was there was 2021. They do have the one side of it that's where they put their Hall of Fame at.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat updated on one small section, but it makes it look even worse because that little section stands out, and then the rest of it is. It's absolutely held up by matchsticks. I'm afraid walking by there that I'm going to be a part of the collapse because that's what it looks like.
It is an erector set.
02, that's when you were on the sideline there, right? And they had just finished adding the upper deck. It hasn't changed since. It looks the exact same.
And the press box, we got walk through there, and the ceilings, if you're a certain height, you're in trouble. And they have wires coming out of the ceilings. Yeah, good old shock wire. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, that was the night where Dan Billy Waldrop got spit on walking off the field. And some guy said, "Hey, why don't you come?"
Oh, unpleasant request.
Do something to me. And another Nebraska football player said, just like your mom did to me. And then next thing you know, a loogie came as well.
That's a good comeback.
I should also add Richie Incognito was in that tunnel at the same time. Here is Dan on the 42 degree The Source hotline. Good morning, Dan.
Billy Waldrop.
Hey, fellas. So I was listening to you guys' show the other day. You guys were talking about stadium renovations, and I was going to call in, and I couldn't because I was at work. But I wanted to ask you guys: do you think that fans, Nebraska fans, are going to be even more angry now that they're delaying the stadium renovations because there was some anger, I think, that they were going to do this at the end of this season. But then when they said, well, we're not going to do that anymore, I think it just riled up even more Nebraska fans to be like, well, why?
Now, Dan, I'm with you because something has to be done. And now it appears that nothing will be done in the short term. So you came to the realization that, okay, I might be out for 2 years, but when I come back, oh my gosh, that's going to be a lot nicer.
Yep.
Now it's same old, and they're going to focus on East and West chairbacks and premium seating. No, I agree with you.
Okay. And another thing, do you think, I may be biased, but do you think that the stadium is a part of the reason why Trev Alberts left because of the response that it got? Do you think that's a major part of why Alberts left? Because he just announced it out of the blue, and the response it got was pretty much unhappy anger from all sides.
Yeah, I think it was part of it.
Thanks, Dan.
I think the inability to get everybody aligned with that and to have that, you could even say, blind support behind it. I think that was part of the frustration that Trev was experiencing. And we've talked about that. It's no mystery, but I don't, at the end of the day, I don't think that just the stadium project itself was 100% of it, but I think it just, in Trev's mind, it continued to be a source of frustration with communication between him and Board of Regents and projects that they want done, especially that one being as the large project.
John writes into the Equitable Bank inbox about Penn State Stadium. Are they going to go ahead and build about 20 hotels and a real airport as part of the stadium upgrade?
The airport there. It's very
Don't
convenient.
most people fly into Harrisburg and then just drive up 76?
Yeah, usually Harrisburg is the place.
But then when you get off 76, it's all 2-lane highway as you weave your way through the hills.
But it's
to
gorgeous.
State College.
That's got to be
gorgeous,
a
though.
nightmare on game day.
Hey, I knew the first time I did that, the first time I was there for a game, I knew that maybe I was in a different place because there's houses, small, like you would see farmhouses.
Yeah, absolutely.
That are by the road. And I drove by one, and it was nothing but a shrine to Paterno. And this was like 10 years before anything became public.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I'm like, oh
by that
boy,
at
we're in a
all.
whole different world.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, there's just nothing. There's nothing to that stadium. So good on them. I did find it interesting that they laid out the plan of how they're going to raise money, and one of them is naming rights. What would set people off more in Lincoln? A Friday night home football game
naming it.
or an announcement of a 15-year, $100 million naming right deal for Memorial Stadium?
FNBO Stadium.
1620 the stadium.
I think it would be I still think the stadium would fire people up way more.
This is a great
because
question.
the Friday night game thing, that's temporary. Not even temporary, but it doesn't happen every year. Every home game and every broadcast that you ever watch or make it when people are like, hey, where are you going? Hey, I'm going down to Lincoln. And you mention, the Class A state championship game is played at FNBO Stadium.
So Nebraska needs money. Nebraska does need money.
I use FNBO as an example.
Is there
Valentino's Memorial?
I mean,
Stadium.
they have. That's one of their corporate partners, along with Woodhouse.
Yep. That have the jack.
Would there be a company that in this current climate would have money that they would entertain that? Because
I think we just mentioned two.
Because there would be the cool factor of, hey, we're on Memorial Stadium, but there will also be the kickback of, I can't believe that's the last thing to fall. Because now Memorial Stadium has naming rights.
I mean, I joke, but we have a stadium in Houston.
15 years, $100 million.
I think you just named two of them, FNBO and Woodhouse. I think they have the money to do that. And
I don't know, the climate's a little bit different. I mean, that's a huge, because you also have to deal with the PR. I don't know, the PR would be great. But Penn State, and theirs isn't Memorial Stadium. Theirs is Beaver Stadium.
Beaver Stadium.
Anger Beavers and Primus fans.
Like, maybe they get people to sponsor the shower heads. I don't know. Whatever they do.
Oh.
Maybe you hated Penn State.
You're on a roll today.
But
Mel Tucker, now this one.
Selling naming rights.
He just says what we were all thinking.
They also are doing something I think Nebraska will also follow if they're going to go grass. So they talked about winterizing the stadium for possibly to play at home during the playoffs. I would think that schools that are in that position that are either have grass or thinking about going grass, you'd have to do what the Packers do at Lambeau. Because don't they have warming pipes underneath the field?
Yeah,
you'd have to do that.
And not Lombardi's heating system.
Not the
froze
heating
field.
system like they had like under Haymarket Park back in the day.
That we still don't. I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
We don't know if it works.
Sounds like
I don't know if it has ever worked.
I thought that was interesting to announce yesterday. That's $700 million. And they're not tearing down Beaver Stadium. They're trying to do it up. So that just in your head, you're going, Jesus, where would Nebraska was announced at 450? More than likely it was 600. I mean, could they would have been knocking on the door of $1 billion when it's all said and done with costs going up. Look at the football facility. The football facility, because of a little bit of a delay and the cost, I mean, that's why they were scrambling to raise so much money, more than they thought they would have had because of, the escalating prices. But $700 million for Penn State, they need it.
Yeah.
There are no Beavers there.
But nobody was complaining about the stadium because they're winning.
Yeah.
Unless you were a visiting fan, you were like, other than it's packed and everybody is wearing white T-shirts, there's nothing like.
No.
I mean, I even the minor league stadium that they share with the baseball team actually nicer.
It is nicer.
Right there next to it.
Yeah, it's much nicer. Other than the size of it, and that's the thing. You're coming into the campus, you see between where the baseball field is and the Bryce Jordan, which is a little bit off, and then you see right there's Beaver Stadium. It's big, and you get over that quickly, especially if you come in on the opposite side where you can actually see how it stands and how it's erected, and it looks like it's on matchsticks. It's actually kind of scary because if you're walking in that area, you're like, am I going to be a casualty of this thing that looks like it's going to fall at any moment?
Man, how you give me nightmares?
Oh, it's added to the little Hall of Fame. That's a little bit more modernized. That looks more presentable. But again, you walk around the stadium, you go into the press box, the different areas of it, and there's just nothing other than, wow, this is big. It holds a lot of people. There's no real charm to it other than, hey, we built this thing really large.
So it'll be under construction next year when Nebraska goes there, or whatever they're doing with it. That's when Nebraska plays there. Hey, the one thing is for sure, Nebraska has not gone to Penn State to play a normal game ever.
No.
Going back to the 80s, and the sideline all of a sudden went, yep.
Yeah.
Nebraska has never gone to State College to play a normal football game, other than the blowout in 2002, the weird trip in 2011. Pat Smith, remember Pat Smith?
Yep.
Kicking a game-winning field goal.
Yep. And then the Riley one where Penn State got out to a 80-0 lead, and then all of a sudden Nebraska made it respectable towards the end, and it was like pouring rain.
Yeah. Nebraska can't play a normal game at Penn State.
Nope.
And they'll go back there next year.
what will we
should be
experience
rooting
then?
for James Franklin. I know
Anna
people
Frank
say
again.
I love it here. I'm not going anywhere, but you always got to have that
Oh.
little bit of a
Yes.
oh man.
I smell what you're
What if
cooking.
Franklin leaves or Penn State sucks?
Right.
So I'm rooting for a 9-win Penn State season.
Yes.
This is why Kansas fans should always root for Nebraska. I'm not kidding.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Brandon Vogel is coming up here in a little bit. It's mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. You get a lot of junk in your inbox. This one, not junk. Not junk at all. 1620 The Email. Exclusive content, contests, other stuff probably. Subscribe today at 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mainly dry on Wednesday with cloud cover early on, giving way to mostly sunny skies. Mild, comfortable afternoon with highs in the mid-70s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Lindley Clothing can guarantee you will look good, feel good. I just can't fix your golf game. Fantastic golf gear from Peter Millard to Johnny O. Also great tech golf pants from Ballon and golf shoes from Johnson & Murphy. Spring is sprung, and Lindley Clothing and Well Suited is ready to get you ready. Whether it be walking down the aisle, sitting in the audience, or on the 18th hole. Well Suited, perfect option to get great styles for less. And of course, the top-notch staff at both Lindley Clothing and Well Suited. They're going to find exactly what you need for that special event. Jack Victor, Bugatti, Samuelson, they've got it all. 132nd and West Dodge in the Linden Market.
Break away from your boring coffee routine and stop by Astori's Coffee Company. Handcrafted, locally roasted premium coffee is served with a smile at one of our 5 Stories Omaha locations. Stop in or drive through and support local at Story's Coffee Company.
As you know, summer is right around the corner, and for most people, that means more activities, more golf, more biking, more of whatever you love to do. But if you're dealing with aches and pains, your more could become less. This is why I'm here to tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps fight pain naturally. For instance, I was sent Relief Factor to try, and I've been taking it every single day. I'll tell you what, I feel the difference every day. You see, instead of masking your pain, Relief Factor's formula is designed to help reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free, and it's been a game changer for so many people. So let's get after it this summer. Let's feel good. Let's do more of the things that we love to do. Don't let pain keep you down. Give Relief Factor a try and save on your first order. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Help fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/radio. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at HIMS, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, what happens to the Pacers moving forward? Last night is one of those games when you're an underdog. You can't lose a game like that. They lost in overtime. They just completely melted down at the end of regulation. I know people are all up in arms about Siakam, by the way, his arms should have been up, about fouling, up 3. I don't know
if he could have.
But they melted down. The Halliburton, no pressure on you, 28 seconds left turnover is glaring. But I wonder what happens to the Pacers moving forward. That's a tough loss on a night where you, for the majority of the game, outplayed Boston on their home floor.
They either get blown out in game 2 or they win in game 2, especially listening to Rick Carlisle afterwards talk about, oh, that's on me. I think that's one or the other. I don't think there's much of an in-between, but I'm going to put some money on Rick
I know
Carlisle.
he took it, but there's not only the turnovers, but you can't allow Jaylen Brown.
No.
That was a difficult shot. But you can't, Jaylen Brown, first and foremost, to catch the basketball.
Right.
I say they win game 2. Otherwise, short series. 5 games tops.
You brought up the Halliburton turnover. That was probably the most between watching. There was a moment that I was watching the 4th inning of the Nebraska game and then watching what was going on between the Pacers and Celtics, and they almost coincided with some of the ugliest basketball where it was some of the worst turnovers. Then you'd look and there would be another hit by Ohio State and another hit by Ohio State. It was a disgusting game. It was a sloppy game from what I was watching when I had my attention actually on that. But that Halliburton turnover it almost punctuated what was just a night of erratic basketball. And I know that's the pace that the Pacers want to be at, but the fact that Boston still survived that, I don't know if that's recoverable. I really don't, because that game, I mean, that was one. I think no team since 96, 97 had been up by 3 with 10 seconds or less had ever lost a playoff game. And so they were the first of that, like especially on the road. I mean, it's weird to say Boston stole one at home, but that's what they did.
Oh, yeah.
Boston stole that one from at home.
Here's what I would excuse me. Here's what I would worry about if I was an Indiana fan. If they play game 7 Sunday, and I know it was a blowout, but they still had to have the energy mentally and physically to compete in that game 7. So then off adrenaline, you turn around and play game 2 nights later. The problem is sometimes when that happens, and I saw this happen to the Spurs in 2008 when they had the weird thing where they win game 7 New Orleans and the plane's broken. They don't get to LA until pretty much game day. They were able to play hard in game 1. They blew a 20-point lead, but in game 2, it's like the second day after vacation where it finally hits you. So the legs may not be there for them on Thursday. And if that's the case, that's why, especially then, yes, they really did blow game 1 because you needed to get that one.
Don't let LSU get hot, by the way. So the SEC baseball tournament underway.
Oh,
LSU won yesterday.
And come back.
And to get into the double elimination, they beat Georgia, who may have cost Georgia a top 8 seed. LSU leadoff home run against Kentucky. Don't let the Tigers get hot.
Don't let us win today.
Tonight, Minnesota, Dallas, Omaha. We are Timberwolf country.
Yes.
Hey, the Timberwolves are the right toxic for the Twin Cities, especially Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis, which is, Minnesota's taken a hit. People are afraid. Downtown Minneapolis is a good place. I love the city. It's always one of my favorite cities in this country. But there are people that only have memories of bad stuff about Minnesota and Minneapolis, over the last 4 years. The Timberwolves are the right tonic for the Twin Cities. There's a great vibe. They have a star. They're likable. Yeah. They are a franchise that went through it. Now they're in a little bit of a renaissance. They got all this excitement. They got all this attention. They got people now that are bringing you ass to Minnesota for tourism, which if you read the proclamation is great. It is.
T-shirts?
They've got T-shirts. They got a proclamation. They've got a tourism slogan. And I like them in 6 to make it to the NBA final. And then to top it off, the right tonic for the Twin Cities. Looks like Kevin Garnett will be back tonight in the house.
Oh, yeah.
He's starting. He can still get it done.
If they're wearing the old school uniforms.
Hey, I know he won a title with the Celtics, but when I think of Kevin Garnett, I still think the Timberwolves first.
I also would
think big ticket.
That this is not just the state of Nebraska, but I think there's probably a lot of people that are pulling for the Wolves. A lot more so because they're going up against the Mavericks than even if they were OKC. And for the simple fact that
flat earthers, true.
I'm still well, you do have Kyrie, but you've brought him up a few times too. I don't know how to feel about Luka. He's a great player, but the antics, just the palms up as you point
when he's
out.
being guarded by Jaden McDaniels in this series, you tell me how you would feel.
Just don't know if I don't. It's not the most likable team. I feel like OKC probably gets a little bit more of the outside, the fan base, public rooting interest in what I think Dallas will get to. So I think the Timberwolves are going to feel it from a lot of people that are pulling for them.
These series, it comes down to role players. That's why I like the Timberwolves. I'll take the Timberwolves in 6. So we get Boston and Minnesota, the Kevin Garnett NBA final. And unfortunately, we get the bad, sorry, Mike Breen, ESPN crew doing the final. At least we get
terrible.
We get to say goodbye. It's going to be sad. Inside the NBA is in Minneapolis. They'll be in Dallas. That's where the Western Conference final is. Man, I almost cried. I watched this morning Ernie Johnson's speech at the Sports Emmys.
And he knows.
Can't believe that show is ending. Oh, yeah, he knows.
Biggest mistake.
Yeah, and now I
made
think something was announced by NBC today.
Mm-hmm. They're already in talks with John Tesh for the song.
Gonna be tough to watch that. Gonna be even tougher to watch ESPN.
but we'll have
ESPN has
Stephen
zero
A.
credibility when it comes to NBA basketball, and I feel for Mike Breen because they had a special him, Van Gundy, and Jackson. Man, Doris Burke, JJ Redick, and then Breen. They're making Breen worse. Breen struggled last night.
Breen is a great broadcaster, but people that listen to this read the stories. He's a great human.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
Mike Breen is incredible, but I think he's paired with two people that should not be on his level. But that's ESPN. ESPN owes Indiana an apology for basically Tim Legler now publicly saying that he was told they were not sexy enough internally, so don't talk about them.
Yep.
To the crew that they give us, and that's where the NBA finals are.
That's why I can't watch a lot of times a lot of these Eastern Conference games, which sucks.
Yeah, the Knicks Fan Fest was about as embarrassing as it gets right there.
All right, Brandon Vogel coming up next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley.
You know that dollar bill you've got stuffed in your wallet, purse, or pocket? Give it a little respect because it could win you millions. Lotto America from the Nebraska Lottery is here, and it only costs $1 to play. It has a $2 million starting jackpot with drawings every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. What's more, you can add the All-Star bonus for an additional $1 to multiply any prize won. So unwrinkle that dollar bill in your glove box and play today. Lotto America top prize odds 1 in 26 million.
There's no better thing than to help others in their time of need. John Bishop here to invite you to be an organ and tissue donor at goodguysavelives.com. Anyone can register, regardless of age or medical condition. Donor hearts and lungs save lives. Donor tissue makes recovery from surgery easier. Next time you renew your license, check that organ and tissue donor box or visit goodguysavelives.com. Learn more about organ donation today and see how you can save 8 lives at goodguysavelives.com.
Experience personalized service and exceptional deals at Woodhouse Lincoln. With cutting-edge technology and incredible design, Woodhouse Lincoln is the place to find your next luxury vehicle. Going on now, receive 2.9% APR for 72 months on the 2024 Lincoln Navigator. Or save up to $2,000 off MSRP with retail customer cash on the 2024 Lincoln Navigator. With approved credit, $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires July 8, 2024. See dealer for details.
When it comes to concrete repair, Everlevel has some serious game. Coach Greg McDermott here to coach you on why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. They've got the fundamentals to fix your cracked and uneven concrete, and their products will give you the best defense against future damage. It's a fraction of the price compared to replacement, and their solutions come with a long-term transferable warranty. Working with Everlevel is a slam dunk. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today for your free inspection.
How powerful is Cox Fiber? Powerful enough to let your band members in Vegas, Phoenix, and Omaha jam like you're all in the same garage. Introducing Cox Fiber from the company with the fastest download speeds 9 years in a row. It's internet built for tomorrow, today. Cox, always building better. Limited availability in select areas. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms and restrictions may apply. Analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence in Las Vegas, Omaha, Phoenix. Fixed median download speeds Q2 2016 to Q1 2024.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 12th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let Blur Events take care of all the work so you can enjoy the day. Plus, we're just steps away from Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination.
Would you just
Give your house key to criminals? Having your personal information on the internet is like giving a thief the key to your home. They can take everything that's valuable to you anytime. But JoinDeleteMe.com can help you protect yourself. Online data brokers compile information about you and sell it to people who could ruin your life. But JoinDeleteMe.com scours the web, removes the personal information you don't want seen, and prevents data brokers, scammers, identity thieves, even political enemies from getting personal information that could hurt you, your family, or your reputation. You'll get regular reports detailing what they find and remove. And JoinDeleteMe.com isn't AI. It's real people working to keep your data safe. Keep your private life private with JoinDeleteMe.com. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/deal and use promo code DEAL at checkout. Go to joindeleteme.com/deal and enter code DEAL at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/deal, code DEAL.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, time to welcome our friend from counterread.com, Brandon Vogel. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
I'm going to give you a question here because Nebraska has become a very trendy offseason pick. They've had a good month of May. It doesn't show it in the scorebook or on HuskerMax.com, but Nebraska's apparently got a lot of wins here in May. So they're trendy. They're showing up in some preseason top 25s. There's even some speculation that Phil Steele might sneak them into 25. Is it time to just say F it and go all in and look in the mirror and go, Nebraska can't be 5-7 forever, and this is the year they break through?
I think this is one of the better candidates. I was actually thinking about not doing it for later this week, but I might go through and rank all of Nebraska's off seasons in the Big Ten era, just to kind of trip down memory lane, see when things were highest. But this one I think so far would rank pretty high. Now,
let me stop you. Let me stop you real quick. That's a great idea and great content. The defense is better, but there's a lot of chatter about 19 because there was love for the quarterback going into the 19 season as well.
Yeah, I think that's the one that feels the most like this offseason in terms of just optimism. And it's also, you don't have the returning quarterback, but you have year two under a new coach, which I think is always good for a little bump. So where's this one? Is it time to go all in? Like, I think there's a lot of factors in Nebraska's favor here. Schedule, I'd actually put schedule towards the bottom because it's tough to actually know what those games are going to look like. And when you're a program that's 5-7, coming off what Nebraska has been coming off, even beyond that, like, you're just going to be in a lot of swing games, and those are particularly hard to project. But you look at the returning production overall, the experience, and those things, I think a lot's in their favor. And the piece of the schedule, starting with 5 of your first 6 at home helps as well. So I'm pretty close to all in, I think, on Nebraska's ability to be 500 at worst. I think. I mean, that even seems like shortchanging what some of these factors have shown for me historically at Nebraska and other schools.
On the year two jump alone, and this goes to all the coaches that you can think of, going all the way back to we'll go back to Frank, and then Bill Callahan, then Bo, and Mike Riley, Scott Frost. There was always that optimism in year two after some early struggles. You would look at the roster more than anything, but I think we've all now really paid attention to this coaching staff and how they're doing things. So if there's something that stands out to you about how this coaching staff is handling preparations for that year two jump compared to previous ones, what would you be the most confident in?
Good timing for that, because as I've been thinking about the couple of months ahead, that updated SP Plus ratings came out this week. Like, there's not a major shift there for anybody, but took a look at those. I think the difference maker, and as I was kind of thinking through, like, how does this compare to other off seasons? I'm confident in Nebraska's ability to have a good bad news season. Like, you get to this point, you guys, go home, and then they get back on campus usually around the start of June. And it's just the point where not a lot good can happen. Somebody has too much fun, they get in a little bit of trouble. Hopefully it's not serious, but you're
Yeah.
dealing with that. You get players who leave the program. Graduate transfers can still move. Those sorts of things. It's kind of like you get to the end of spring football and you're just trying to hold on to whatever you thought you had there. And when you think back at the Frost era, like these months were tough historically on Nebraska. I think their ability to withstand that, based on the retention that they've been able to execute in the transfer portal, that's a big part of it. And I think the messaging is consistent too. It's tougher to like talk about that one because we don't see it every day, but I'm pretty confident that that's happening.
We've talked this week because Nebraska, their ultimate goal is to win a national championship, and they're in a conference where there is a path, but you've got to overcome some people in front of you. But if you are good in your own conference, you're at least in the tournament, and so you give yourself a shot. Moving forward, when the middle tiers of the SEC and the Big Ten are talking about winning a national championship, will it be more important their top 22 or their next 50 plus on their roster?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think for getting there, which in the Big Ten, it's going to come down, I think, a lot of years to is the 9-3 team in the Big Ten better than, say, the 10-2 team from the ACC or the Big 12? I think that's kind of what we're looking at in terms of a breakdown. I think getting there, it's going to be your top 22, your top line guys. Now, do that long enough. So if you're Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, et cetera, the playoff fixtures, it's going to be more about your top 50. Depth's going to become a bigger thing as we add games. I think as you have transfers, who continue to come in, guys who have maybe not been in the same strength and conditioning program, I think depth becomes a bigger thing as we enter into this 12-team playoff era. So I think that's the second hurdle for Nebraska. The first one is getting that 22 to a point where you can be in that playoff discussion year in and year out by winning probably at least 9 games in conference.
Brandon, the other part about the season that I'm more curious about is how long it does take this offense. We all know that it has to be better, but how long does that take? And especially with the skill set that Dylan has, but also being a true freshman, do you put any timetable where it's expected, or where you think it's more realistic that this offense will at least have the consistent production that it can to support what we hope is, again, another very productive defense?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think sort of hesitant to say this, but it's what I think. I don't think it might take very long to see signs that, okay, the offense is in a better spot. Because I think kind of the central issue for Nebraska last year is I don't think it had the quarterback play. And as the season wore on, I don't know that it had the receivers to kind of eliminate. I mean, teams were able to put a ton of guys in the box against Nebraska, and they knew Nebraska was going to be run heavy. They were probably the 4th run heaviest team in the country last year, which is just behind the service academies. And if you can't relieve that pressure by either completing, just quick passes that kind of take advantage of that, or hitting some deep shots down the field, which we saw Nebraska do a little bit, but not consistently enough, it was just too hard. You're almost playing one-handed, I think, offensively. So can you see that right away? I think you will be able to see signs of it right away when they start playing the games. Now you'll weigh it against the fact that UTEP is the opener. Who knows with Colorado? But I think defensively Colorado will be better than it was a year ago. And then you got an FCS opponent, so you have to weigh that. But simply hitting those throws, no matter the opponent, I think would be a difference from what we saw for Nebraska last year, and address one of the major weaknesses coming in.
Hey, when you, and you've probably written about this, I'm pretty sure you have, when you talk about strength of schedule, what's the number one factor that you look at strength of schedule?
I mean, you can take, whatever set of power ratings you like, or, there's places out there to give you all of them and kind of tally it up that way. One of the things I wrote about this spring is I broke the season into thirds. I think it's and there's no real numbers to this, but just thinking about the sequencing of things, and talking about when you get your bye weeks, like what kind of back to backs you have, and I think Nebraska's schedule in 2024 is a good one for that. So even in addition to the perceived strength of the opponent, opening at home with that sort of homestand, getting a bye week in October, fairly early on, and then every team has 2 bye weeks this year, so it sets up okay for Nebraska that way. So I think those are kind of the 2 prongs. Like, let's set the base level of here's how good we would expect opponents to be, knowing teams are probably going to be within a game and a half of whatever win total you might put for them. And then decide, okay, well, is there any grueling stretches here? And you can look at Nebraska's, November and say, yeah, it's going to be tough again. But I think that's just going to be every November in the Big Ten, unless you're, an Ohio State or an Oregon, it looks like in 2024.
Yeah, and you just basically answered the part about the schedule that I wanted to get to, is being able to have more of that traditional schedule that we're more accustomed to see Nebraska starting at home, not having to start off either on the road or against a conference opponent as well, which they have now. That you look at certain areas. This goes back to even my question about the offense, of how far along that can take the offense, just to be able to have the comfort at home, an opponent that is, again, a little bit more traditional of what you're used to getting out of the gate, of what that can do, just getting Nebraska, that's in desperate need of being able to string games together, not to dismiss Colorado coming into town that following week, but just getting off on the right foot and feeling like you're able to kind of catch your breath a little bit and be on a, dare I say, a better schedule or a better path than what you've been the last few years.
Yeah, Rules talked about it a lot, mentioning it. When's the last time Nebraska simply started 1-0? And what,
2019.
2019. Yep. So so that season did kind of, I think, swing on that loss at Colorado. And this Colorado team, you could kind of convince me they're better. They're going to be better than they were a year ago. You could also convince me maybe they're mostly the same. I totally don't know what to make of them. But getting Colorado early in the year, I think, is more difficult than getting them later, which wouldn't be possible given the conference schedule. So just starting 1-0, like, beat UTEP. UTEP's a team that it's going to move the ball a little bit. I think they're going to try and go super fast. But they seem like a program that's looking at kind of a year 0 more than a year 1, and they're okay with that. Get that one. That Colorado game is going to be big. We know it's primetime kickoff now. But we're looking at this 4-game series against Colorado. Nebraska needs to win. Otherwise, it's going to go 0-4 against a Colorado team that, for most of that stretch, is one of the few you would have said, based on results, was like definitively worse than what Nebraska had produced. So there's going to be a lot tied up into that game. Going into it, having played hopefully well against a UTEP team that you should beat pretty handily, would be pretty big.
Yeah. It showed up in my inbox at 6 a.m. yesterday morning. I would ask you the question on air, but I invite everybody to subscribe to Counter Read, because it's fascinating how you looked at what if Carter Nelson is ready to go right away. Good on you. He's a fascinating athlete to me that could play a slot, could play wide receiver, could bulk up and be a tight end. But he's a Nebraska kid that's got some intriguing qualities. And I like what you did for your subscribers and people that should go subscribe and they can read it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, he's got one of the best origin stories, I think, in terms of being an 8-man guy at that level, based on what we think of him as a recruit. Nebraska might have the luxury, if it stays healthy, of they might not need him right away. But I think that's the best possible scenario for a guy with his skill set, size, and ability. So yeah, head over to Counter Read. You can check that out. Coming later this week, we're gonna dig into kicking a little bit. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if that's a good pitch or bad pitch, but that's where we're going.
It's a great lead. Nebraska's Walter Payton arrives on campus next month. I encourage everybody to read this latest edition of Counter Read. Brandon, as always, we appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Great show, everybody. We had some fun, unlike Nebraska baseball.
Yeah.
Nebraska will try it again tonight, 7 o'clock at the Day Trader Ballpark against Purdue. Brett Sears is on the mound. He's worth the price of admission. We'll see if
Day Trader
Nebraska gets to have more admission. They got to win tonight. So we'll discuss that. Plus, you got the T-Wolves playing. It's a good day of sports, and the weather is going to be really, really nice. So get out and enjoy it. And we'll enjoy all of you until we meet again 20 hours from now at 6 tomorrow morning. Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy at 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio.